say that it was a moment that many people feared. It was a confirmation that a lot of people were waiting for news about this plane crash. They were hoping that there would be a confirmation that it never happened at all. But unfortunately, the sad confirmation about this plane crash has just been given by the Chief of Staff Deborah, and indeed in the auditorium where the announcements took place, you could actually cut the emotions in the room there with a knife. We had some of the top officials of government, all of them present during that announcement. I spotted Education Minister Haruna Idrisu. And at the time that he was introducing, telling us what the press conference was going to be about, you could hear his voice shake even when he did the announcement. It's a steady stream of people pouring in here at the Jubilee House right now. You can see in a shot right now going. Is the chairman of the National Democratic Congress, Johnson is here doing Kitia, who just arrived here at the Jubilee House. It's a moment of mourning for everybody here at the presidency. I can see Presidential Special Joyce Barbara also arriving here. Uncontrollable tears here at the Jubilee House. And even before that briefing by the Chief of Staff, you could see the moment on the faces of everyone present in the auditorium. Present there we had the Vice President who was also there in the room. We had Al-Hassan Suhini, ministers like Al-Hassan Suhini was present, Education Minister like I mentioned, Haruna Idrisu was also present in the room. Government Communications Minister Felix Kwachufus was also present in that room. He was not the one who did the announcement. We had the Chief of Staff in charge of Deputy Chief of Staff in charge of operations, Stan Dogbe, also there, in that auditorium. So really, when you come here to the Jubilee House, it's a moment of grief. Just hours before we received that confirmation, we saw people moving around. On their phone, but you just couldn't tell what exactly was happening. So first it was the rumors, that started swelling here at the presidency, with nobody willing, to confirm what had happened. So although we were here present here at the Jubilee House at a time when the announcement of the plane crash had happened, some media houses, especially for colleagues who were in the regions, announcing that there was a plane crash. There were colleagues here at the presidency who are part of the presidential press corps who did not have an idea whatsoever about what had happened. So we were together in the media briefing room when the calls started trickling in from our various newsrooms, calling to confirm the information from us. Indeed, earlier today, we had the Government Accountability Series, and the Minister for Fisheries and Aquaculture Development, Emilia Atta, was the one who addressed that press conference. So the usual routine was for members of the Presidential Press Corps to sit in the media briefing room within their workspaces to work on the audios and videos, to work on the story for publication by their various media houses. But that routine did not continue today. In fact, there was a pool that was supposed to travel together with the president to the central region. So the president was scheduled for had two events today. The National Vaccine Investment Forum, and then which happened at 10 a.m. at the Kempinski Hotel, and then an event at 2 p.m. which is going to take place in the central region. It was an event being organized by the Assemblies of God Church in the Central Region, and the president was expected to be there at 2 p.m. But this is what happened. So just minutes before the team of pressmen, the presidential press corps, moved from the Jubilee House to take the lead to that event, we got the information that that event had been cancelled. That 2 p.m. event that the president was supposed to be present there had been, cancelled. So it was at this point that the news started trickling in. A lot of people getting to know that indeed a plane crash had happened, and some ministers were actually on board, with some of them feared dead.
And Maxwell,
and indeed we've had the confirmation from the chief of staff.
Yeah. And Maxwell, I know you've also been told a few more things about whether or not the president was also scheduled to be on this particular helicopter to this same event in Obuasi. What more do you know about that?
Question again.
Hello, Maxwell. I was, and I know I can see in your shot there a few more, senior members, either of government or the party, coming to Jubilee House. But I want to quite quickly find out from you, earlier when we were speaking, on the flyer communicating the dignitaries who were expected to be present at the event in Obuasi, the president was himself billed to be there. Have you gathered any additional information whether or not he was also billed to be on this helicopter with the now deceased defense minister and environment minister?
Well, what we've been picking from deep throat sources here at the presidency is that usually when there is an event like that, the president, would have a schedule, and he would have a schedule on whether he will be present, or not. A deep throat source that I've been speaking to seems to suggest that there was a clash. There was a clash of events. That is the 2 p.m. event that I talked about that the president was supposed to be at. That is the Assemblies of God, pastors and pastors' wives of the Assemblies of God Church. That event was supposed to take place in the Central Region. So that deep throat source that I've been speaking to tells me that. So there was a clash of. There was a clash of shadows. That's what that source is telling me, and that source says that but for that clash, perhaps the president, would have been at the Obuasi, event as well. That is the mining event that was taking place in the Ashanti region. Of course, we've heard the president many times demonstrating his commitment to saying that he's committed to the fight against illegal mining. And indeed, this is an issue that is very dear to his heart. So that deep throat source tells us that, but for that clash of shadows, the president would have been at that event at the Ashanti region. And indeed, a confirmation that we got from that was his picture on that flyer. And I'm sure many have seen that flyer making rounds, on social media. So, but for that event, in the Central Region, that is the church event in the Central Region, this source suggests to us that the president would have, taken off, to the Ashanti region for that mining event at Obuasi. Once again, this is information we are gathering from our sources here at the presidency, Evans. But you mentioned that those you saw in the shot earlier, so it was the Sports and Recreation Minister. He was the one working with the Fisheries and Aquaculture Development Minister. He was consoling her. The minister, just about 3 hours ago, took her turn here at the Government Accountability series, but she's had to return here to the presidency because of this sad event that is, that we just received confirmation on. Now, if you move about 100 meters away from where I'm standing, there is a meeting ongoing between top government officials. So the chief of staff The chief of staff is.
Well, I forget somebody.
The vice president is also in that. Is also in that meeting. The military high command is also present. In fact, we saw the chief of defense staff was actually in the auditorium during the announcement of the death and the confirmation of the aircraft. So there's a meeting, going on just about 100 meters away from where I'm standing. All the ministers, all the top government officials who came for the announcement by the chief of staff are still in that meeting. And already I've seen some flags here at the presidency flying at half-mast as directed by the chief of staff, Julius Deborah.
And Maxwell, thank you. Maxwell, you stay with us throughout this because, as we know, that is the seat of government. The commander-in-chief himself, we know, is there. Flags are flying at half-mast tonight. And because the commander-in-chief is expected that sometime later today we may hear from him himself. And whilst Maxwell stays with us, you also see on your screens our team of reporters now are in the Sikaman community. That is a community where the helicopter crashed, and that's what you see there. My colleague Bright is there for us. We'll be getting more first-hand accounts of what really happened with this helicopter that went down, leading to the death of the defense minister, Dr. Omane Boamah, Murtala Mohammed, who is environment minister, and then six others. And let's go to the listener for those listeners who are joining us right now, either on Joy 99.7 FM, but also watching us on the Joy News channel here on the multitude.
So, Evans, according to the chief of staff, Julius Deborah, these are the confirmed individuals that lost their lives in this crash that we are talking about. The Minister for Defense, Dr. Omane Boamah, who was also the NDC Director of Election, played a key role in the 2024 elections. That's when the NDC win. He was on his way to Obuasi when this happened. Dr. Omane Boamah, the Minister for Defense. There's also Alhaji Dr. Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed, the Member of Parliament for Tamale North and the Minister for Environment, Science and Technology. That's Alhaji Dr. Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed. Also on the flight, unfortunately, died is Alhaji Miniru Mohammed. Is the acting Deputy National Security Coordinator. He served as Deputy Minister for Food and Agriculture in the Mahama First Administration, but currently, until his demise, was the Deputy National Security Coordinator. There's also Dr. Samuel Sapon. For those in the Ashanti region, you will know him better. Started work as the head of the Serious Fraud Office, now in Yoko. He was the Ashanti Regional Director in charge of Ashanti and Ebono region. During the Mills administration, he became the KMA mayor, and then at some point decided to contest the vice chairmanship of the NDC. He won in the party's last Congress. So until his demise, he was the vice chair of the NDC. Dr. Samuel Sapon, very well known in the Ashanti region. So, and there's also Evans, these are the individuals. There's also Samuel Abuaje. He was the NDC parliamentary candidate for the Obuasi West constituency in the 2024 elections. These are the civilians who are on board. Now, the Ghana Armed Forces also released the names of individuals who were on board this, doomed aircrafts. And they are squadron leader Peter Anala. And then the flying officer, the man who was in charge of the aircraft, is Chum Ampadu, and of course, Sergeant Ernest Adumensa. Let me go over the names again. Squadron leader Peter Anala, flying officer Chum Ampadu, and Sergeant Ernest Adumensa. These are the officers of the Ghana Armed Force who were on board together with the 5 individuals. Unfortunately, we are reporting their death this afternoon.
They all killed in this crash. I want to take you now to the Sikaman community in Obuasi, where my colleague Emmanuel Bright Kweku is standing by, and you can see crowds gathering behind him. Bright, what can you report? It's been a 45-hour journey for you to get to where you are, so we can learn a bit more about what really happened. What are you learning?
So Evans, I am reporting live from Boafriedru. Actually, we understand that Sikaman is the adjoining community from here, and so once you get to Sikaman, you now come to Boafriedru, and then we have a pitch forest that is right behind us where the incident happened, and where we are reporting that some government officials, that's the environmental minister and also the defense minister, have been confirmed dead in this particular incident. The plane was heading, or the helicopter was heading for Obuasi. But I have an eyewitness for us. But before that, you can see quite a number of people have gathered. That's the community folks here who have gathered to commiserate with the people. We also have some government officials. I have cited the Kumasi mayor, that's Ejenim Boateng, the Kumasi mayor Kinzoba, he is here, and also I've also cited the deputy national security coordinator for the Ashanti region, Tapsoba, also here. All of them are making frantic efforts to go into the deep forest to ascertain circumstances. And already, as we reported, the Ashanti regional minister left the scene. That was the responsive community mining event, and then went and came right here at this community. And so they have taken lead into the forest to ascertain circumstances. But I have this gentleman here with me when the incident happened, and he will tell us what really happened when he went there to see the site. But Okoye no Dennis here and Nanope.
Nanope Bobe 9:30 to 10. Ti ewa fumudo. Ne ti say penu eba. Like penu say sound eba no, that's like person that badum say BBS. Ti mka tumi nyam say yen hwe be penu beko. Ti udin be tem mi say penu crash of the cinema. Na mka tumi nyam say no. Penu na crash no te be ya yen fe na mu say be yen gofo bi akanya ho na just start say e go di achira. Ti o be udin 5 say boys be the motor baby say motor bi crash nti be say mo boy na tum go hwe ti en etien fam be udin be 2 hours na hu ti egusu ehwa ti ko forest bi deep forest ti ko say say be bia e PTS no e bia betima ye hwa ti yampampa ye kwa na ehun say ehun say yampanso ko ehun say motor no ne head no ebubu from wa ti ko ehun say emunu de emunu na baba ko pe ehun say na dawo but mo tu really in baba 5 no be da no mo da jam but ba ko pe de da nchem and we dey do say baba 5 ne de much be ba ko now dey on chance kwa.
So as you can see in your shots, that's the Kumasi mayor Kinzuba. He is also trying to go into the forest to ascertain circumstances over there, what really happened in the forest. We'll also be going there to give you our feedback. Continue. Then see okay nipa saying dodo saying na edahona no mo body na shikra na den.
Je me ko eno ma otuzo ma shikra na je ba ko pe na wa zunu se on de da enchen be bi gakwa mama kan ze muda omguja nim amunesh because want me fashion no because forest no anodin na before since no bibia adin si no bibia no abetumi adaye ti bibi be yen say the netie edutu from me ko na sikan gete edutu from the netie edudum jan kala ansa na ehu nipa say nipa be 5 na ahika ho exactly problem always yeah
so mo ko ne bibia mo hu bibia
no yeah bibia
nti ya kanu say incident ni see no then am timi call inside one kasa call no then am timi ye boa omo de agije omo and then kra na mo ye mutimi call understand say quite far from here say then am timi call
yeah let me can say you say it noise no because you don't do this baby a crash out for this la because ten crash no em share I don't know mutu pain na crash because oh here noise na ya na ko mo fie kura ti say noise bi asi na ye wo fom kwa ye ben ho de Yes, I was saying to me the following one the qua. Yes. The guys in the bar na o first about the guys in the door. Yes, in the go here. Yeah, more than 2 hours, 3 hours. And so
you spent 3 hours, 2 hours before.
Yes, Bachan, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
What's your dad say? Udini then?
Omane Boamah.
Okay, sure. And so that's an eyewitness giving us an account of what really happened with regards to this incident. A helicopter, we understand, and unfortunately, our reports are confirming that the environmental minister and defense minister, Dr. Omane Boamah, and also Murtala Mohammed and 6 other persons have been confirmed dead in a crash here at the Bofuyedu forest in the Adanse Akrofom district of the Ashanti region. And as you rightly heard the account, the eyewitness account, it took at least 3 hours for them to get into the forest. I must say that it's quite far. It's a deep forest and it might be difficult for us to go into, but we'll bring you more pictures from the incident, what really happened. But I have this man who is part of the national security and we want to know, what have you gathered so far?
Okay, I got a missed call from my intel officer and I called back. He said there have been a pre-crash in Bufo Sikamai. And I've sent him, he sent me pictures and he testified that there have been a plane crash and those crew on board are not alive. That's what he told me.
Okay. So what time did you get here?
Around 10:30, 11.
Okay. But have you been able to retrieve the body so far?
No, there have been a backup there, so they are going there to retrieve the body. They are now going there to retrieve the body.
Okay. All right, sure. Thank you. And so there are frantic efforts underway to really retrieve the bodies that were crushed. We understand that these bodies have been charred from the eyewitness accounts. Just one of them had their hands. You could see a body of it, but the rest of them was charred in this particular incident. So frantic efforts are underway, and we have an ambulance around to help in getting the bodies from the forest. It's been almost 2 hours, even since the Ashanti Regional Minister himself and some government officials went into the forest to retrieve the body, and yet still they have not returned from this incident. We have the National Security Council at present, dignitaries from the responsible community mining program who were all there have also come here to pitch camp to ensure that we can retrieve the bodies of these persons who have been confirmed dead, as we have reported. The environmental minister and also the defense minister have been confirmed dead in this helicopter crash that has happened at Bofuyedu in the Adanse Akrofom district. We'll engage more with the residents over here and find out what the frantic efforts, even the government officials themselves, whether they've been able to retrieve the body. We'll speak with the deputy Security Council, National Security Council, Tapsoba, and to speak with him whether they have been able to retrieve the body. So, Evans, this is what is currently happening in the community. In fact, for the residents, this is unprecedented, and it's something that they have not witnessed before, that just this morning a helicopter will crash into the forest, and so a lot of them, they were supposed to go for farming, but unfortunately because the incident has happened and most of them are back home trying to gauge around and gauge the mood. It's quite a solemn mood, I must confirm, here at Bofuyedu Sikaman in the Adanse Asokwa district. So Evans, this is what we can report from the scene.
Here with us, and I know because you have the deputy
the regional
security coordinator there, we can get a fair bit more from him. And the minister himself had left to try and supervise what is going to happen. And what you see on the screens there is all that we know. We are in the community for you. we are Jubilee for you. And Maxwell has been doing a few more interviews, getting us a bit more clarity, but also getting reactions from Jubilee House itself at the seat of government. And we'll get that for you also as in the course of this developing story. You see in your top left corner of your screen there the first images and footage from the forest. Where the helicopter crashed, the smoldering of flames of the helicopter is what you see there. Shots taken by some of the residents who had rushed to the scene in an attempt to try and save lives. As we know now, that obviously turned out to be a fatal one, claiming the lives of the defense minister and environment minister. You see their pictures there in your shot on screen, but this is something that is coming on the day when the government was making a major move to deal with the illegal mining menace, and to think that the first major attempt to launch a major initiative to deal with this claimed the lives of the defense and interior, the defense minister, and also the environment minister. And Elton, is something that Maxwell said that is pretty chilling. That the president himself was billed to be at this particular event,
right? And
there's every possibility that he possibly would have also been on this particular helicopter flight to the venue of this event. He was advertised to be there. It was his picture and that of the Lands and Natural Resources Minister that was advertised that he was going to lead this. And Maxwell tells us that there was a clash. There was another event in the central region that made it impossible for him to move. And so Omane Boamah and Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed took the lead to go to the site, and he didn't go. And that obviously sends chills down your spine when you hear that particular story. It's not surprising that it was the chief of staff who addressed the nation to break the news that we've lost the defense minister and Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed. But it's a fair expectation to see that the president maybe later today may address the country himself. Our condolences obviously to the families of the bereaved. But what we need to do as journalists is try and help you understand this great moment of grief, what has happened, but also to get clarity from government as to how they plan to move forward on the back of this terrible incident in Obuasi, in the thick forest there in Sikaman. And if you're just joining us right now, a total of 8 people. 8
individuals, 3 military officers and 5 civilians.
Exactly.
Including 2 sitting cabinet ministers.
Cabinet ministers, and this is the defense minister we were talking about, and environment minister who are passed. And Elting, I must say this. It was just 2 days ago, I was talking to Omane Boamah, and I spoken to him. Why? Because I was trying to convince him to allow us to embed with the military that the president had deployed to Boku. And I was convincing him about it because I thought for transparency, it would be good to have a reporter with a camera with a team. We see that happen elsewhere in the world where the military is deployed and you have a journalist with them covering what they are doing. It's such a major operation like that. It would have been useful to have it. And I was talking to him about it. He seemed very open about the idea. And you will notice, Elting, that we subsequently, last few days, we've seen that the military have been speaking.
Right.
We have the military spokesperson who has been talking to us. He wanted to bring transparency to the military. He didn't want the military to be a closed book. And he had given the instructions for the military to engage on what they were doing. And I remember him calling me subsequent to my call to him. This is just two days ago. When we had the military spokesperson on our network talking, he called me agitated that we are asking too many questions of her, because again he also wanted to balance the information just enough, and there's a lot more that we can talk about. This fine gentleman called Omane Boamah, and of course Murtala Mohammed, that we've all engaged. And Maxwell is back live with us, and we can see many more dignitaries coming in. Maxwell, what more can you talk to us about?
entire NBC family.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, so you just heard no interviews. That is coming from the Chief of Staff Administration. Nanoye Bampoado. It tells you the devastation and how people are grieving. Here earlier, I had opportunity to have interactions with presidential staffer Beatrice, and she had agreed to speak to us earlier, but she changed her mind that she's unable, to speak to us. So that's a challenge here. It's a lot of grieving here at the presidency. Indeed, it's a big loss, for the government. It's a big loss, for the party, as well. And that meeting that I told you about earlier has ended, and that's why you see the stream of people, government appointees. Just gone by, you saw Stan Dobe, Chief of Staff in charge of operations. You see Alhassan Tuyeni. I don't think he's in the mood. He's not in the mood to talk. So it's a somber moment, here. Proportions we cannot describe. In your shot right now, you can see NDC General Secretary Fifi Kwete. He's the one approaching right now, together with the Roads and Highways Minister Kwame Agoja. Also is the Environment Minister, Environment Energy Transition Minister Fifi Kwete. He cannot speak. You see Kasela Tuforcing, Finance Minister, also there in your shot, having a conversation with Energy Transition Minister, Education Minister Haruna Idrisu. Mr. Idrisu, condolences to you. How did you get it?
Tragic departure of our colleagues in the service of our country. They were on their way to Obuasi to launch the cooperative mining initiative. The president is down emotionally. We pray that God will give him the fortitude and the Ghanaian people to accept this tragic loss. Excellency, the Vice President, Professor Jenana, is now leading a government delegation to formally, but albeit with difficulty, go and convey the sad passing of our colleagues, Dr. Omane Boamah, Dr. Murtala Mohammed Alhaji Limuna, Alhaji Murtala Mohammed, and comrades Sapong. So the Vice President have considered a team, one led by Julius Debra, National Chairman to Koforidua, supported by the Army Commander, and the other team will visit the two other families, and the family will visit Takoradi tomorrow. Do accept our sympathies and condolences. Very difficult moments for all of us.
Okay, thank you. So we just have the Education Minister, Haruna Idrisu. Like you heard, they're going to formally inform the family of the Defense Minister, Dr. Omane Boamah, about the unfortunate incident. So the delegation that came here, the delegation made up of top government appointees, ministers, deputy ministers, presidential staffers, all of them are filing out at this point, to go and visit the family of Dr. Omane Boamah to formally inform the family about this unfortunate incident on a Black Wednesday. We would have to go there to bring you up to speed on what is going to be happening there, but I can tell you as it stands now, the Jubilee houses, it appears empty right now, with a lot of people moving to the residence of Dr. Omane Boamah. Evans.
And Maxwell, thank you for that. And we get a bit more from the
arrangements going forward.
Yes.
So clearly, as with tradition, we'll have to inform them officially, and that's exactly what the Vice President, as we are told, is leading a high-powered government delegation to the home of Dr. Omane Boamah, and I'm told that they are all the way to Koforidua, because that's where he's from, the new Yabin South constituency. That's where Omane Boamah hails from. So we're also going to inform the family about his passing, and then Honorable Murtala Mohammed, member of Parliament for Tamale Central, but we know that the family resides in Accra, so obviously that's what they'll be doing as well. There are also some individuals who they may have to travel out of Accra. Some was upon we know that he is resident in the Ashanti regional capital, Kumasi, and the rest. So it is clearly a very difficult moment for government to deal with this particular matter. It throws everything out of gear. Everything now comes to a standstill, because you may have to deal with this matter before you can take any step forward. And the circumstances under which they died is quite, troubling.
Really tragic. And from those who were at the scene, the reports of the state of the bodies itself, it's got to be pretty hard to take. And we know that when we started this, before we had the confirmation from the Chief of Staff that they had deployed the Ghana Armed Forces team to first search and possibly rescue. They would try now to bring back the remains of Dr. Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed and Dr. Omane Boamah and the 6 others who perished in this helicopter crash. There is a lot more to learn about what happened as far as what went wrong with this particular helicopter. We've had a few incidents with military helicopters over the years. This isn't the first time we've had a military helicopter had an emergency, and the questions needs to be asked. There'll be time for that, definitely. But this is a moment of great sadness because of what has happened. And what we're trying to do for you is bring you the 360 coverage of this major development story. There's only, my experience, one other time in the last 30 years that you can compare to this one, of course, when the sitting president passed on the 24th of July, 2012, and I remember where I was, and then today, when you've lost 2 cabinet ministers.
Right.
And it is also because of how
they died.
They died in a military helicopter, the Z9 that was flying to an event in the Obuasi, crashing, burning, in the process claiming so many lives. What we're trying to get you a bit more about the arrangements now to try and get the families informed, and it's also just the nature of the way the media operates now in terms of the social media. The state was forced to announce the death on national television. We know that ideally what they would have preferred was that the family would have been told formally before this is announced anywhere. But of course, you don't have control over social media and the reports that were already circulating. We had held back as long as possible to try and get the opportunity to the state to make the formal announcement, and that has happened now. Now, as we've just learned exclusively from the education minister, he's told us that there is a delegation now that has now been sent to the family of both Dr. Omane Boamah, Dr. Ibrahim Murtala, to inform the family formally of their passing. No doubt they will now know what has happened. They will now know. You expect that the president himself will be on a call with them, trying to consult them. But there's a high-power delegation. If you're just joining us tonight, on their way, to the families of those who have passed, to inform them. The defense minister is gone, died in a crash. Also, the environment minister, but there were 6 others, Elton, if you want to go through the list for us, and you see them on your screens there, who have passed tonight. Elton, you want to go to the list of the confirmed fatalities in this crash?
So, Evans, according to the chief of staff, and this is now official, so the individuals who were involved in the crash, and then we have Dr. Omane Boamah. Dr. Omane Boamah was the Minister for Defense. He was also the NDC's Director of Elections. I mean, it's a known face as far as the NDC matters are concerned, quite close. He was quite close to the President, John Dramani Mahama. There's also Alhaji Dr. Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed, Member of Parliament for Tamale Central, and Minister for Environment, Science and Technology, was also on board this flight that came down and then now confirmed dead. There's also Alhaji Miniru Mohammed. He was the acting Deputy National Security Coordinator. Alhaji Miniru Mohammed, acting Deputy National Security Coordinator. Dr. Samuel Sapon, formerly KMA Mayor, contested and won the NDC second vice chairmanship position. Very known NDC faithful in the Ashanti region, and now confirmed dead, Dr. Samuel Sapon. There's also Samuel Abuaje. He was the NDC's parliamentary candidate in the Obuasi West constituency in the 2024 general elections. There are also military officers who have also been confirmed dead in this tragic incident. Squadron leader Peter Anala, the flying officer Chuma Pedu, and then of course Sergeant Ernest Edu Mensah. These are the 3 military officers who were on board. They operated this aircraft together with the 5 civilians who were also on board. Now we are reporting their deaths. About 2 hours ago, they thought they were on their way to Obuasi to launch this community mining concept. But as we are reporting this afternoon, all of them have been confirmed dead, and the president has instructed that all flags to fly at half mast in memory of them. And as you may be aware, according to the Education Minister Haruna Idrisu, the Vice President is leading the delegation first to the home of Dr. Omane Boamah. They are on their way to Koforidua, the Eastern Regional Capital, to inform the family officially. And I just want to believe that because of social media and the way media travel these days, they're already aware of the problem. They have heard it in the media. And then when they are done, they also make a trip to the home of Alhaji Murtala Mohammed to inform the family. They hope to also go to the home of every individual who was involved in this doomsday flight by the Ghana Armed Forces to officially inform them. Subsequent announcement will be made later. That's what we have been told. So it is something that the whole country is coming to terms with. Everything obviously has come to a standstill. I had advertised an engagement with Kwabena Japan. It will not come on, and it appears to have thrown everything out of jail as we speak right now.
Yeah, indeed. And we got the formal confirmation from the Chief of Staff, Julius Deborah.
And the Adansi area in Ashanti region. Government regrets to announce the demise of the following persons in the tragic crash. Dr. Omane Boamah, Minister for Defense. Alhaji Dr. Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed, MP, Minister for Environment, Science and Technology. Alhaji Miniru Mohammed Lemona, Acting Deputy National Security Coordinator and former Minister for Food and Agriculture. Dr. Samuel Sapon, Vice Chairman of the National Democratic Congress, and Mr. Samuel Abuaje, a former parliamentary candidate. Squadron Leader Peter Bafemi Anala, Flying Officer Manin Chum Ampedu, and Sergeant Ernest Ado Mensah. The President and government extends our condolences and sympathies to the families of our comrades and the servicemen who died in service to the country. All flags are to fly at half-mast until further notice. Thank you.
So that was a very short statement there from the Chief of Staff telling us about what has happened today. But it was short because indeed there's very little else you can say. So if you're just joining us, what happened? What do we know so far? We know from the Ghana Armed Forces itself that as at 9:12 a.m. this morning, the helicopter Z9 took off from Accra, headed to Obuasi for that illegal mining initiative, the launch of the illegal mining initiative. On board the flight were 3 crew members and 5 passengers. And Elton, now we know the identities of the 8 in question. Now, shortly after takeoff, they were monitoring the helicopter on our radar. I'm talking about the Ghana Armed Forces radar, had it locked on, and they were monitoring it as he made his way to Obuasi. But then something happened. They lost the helicopter on the radar. They all of a sudden didn't see the helicopter on the radar. That obviously raised alarm bells. We know that the military obviously then began to figure out what was happening. They also then confirmed in the statement that was issued that they were attempting to establish contact with this particular helicopter. We now know that helicopter crashed in the thick forest there in Sikaman, and we will show you the Google Earth so that you can appreciate how heavily forested the area is. And that also explains the video that you've seen on your screen there, the shots that you have there on your top left and right corners. You see this is heavily forested area indeed, and that's where the helicopter went down, claiming the lives of a total of 8 people. The 2 cabinet ministers and 6 others you see on your screens, Omane Boamah and Murtala Mohammed, all perished in this particular tragic incident. Now, there's a few things we know about this helicopter. And this helicopter has been in the service of the Ghana Armed Forces for quite some time. In fact, I've seen the reports of John Mahama himself commissioning some of the helicopters at the time when the last time he was in office. If I'm not mistaken, this must have been 2015.
Yes, 2015.
2015. He had commissioned some of these helicopters, but the first times we had purchased the helicopters, and so we don't know how many the Ghana Armed Forces have in their fleet. But it started somewhere in the early 2010s, and then in 2015 there was more. The Chinese had given us some at the time that the John Mahama had done this event to adore the Z9 helicopters. Now, the helicopters, we know they are pretty versatile utility helicopters. Now, the questions are now being asked about were they properly maintained by the Ghana Armed Forces. We'll ask that question and we'll get some clarity later on. But a few things that we know. This helicopter in question and the several others that the Ghana Armed Forces have, they've used them for several duties within the territory, mainly for services on offshore. The Navy Ghana Armed Forces together would have used it to ensure that their offshore assets are intact. So you would have noticed that it was in service of the Ghana Gas used it. A lot of the offshore operators would have also relied on this for monitoring and etc. But it's built to be a bit robust. Harbin Z9 is what it's formally called. And the questions about what really happened to this is something that we would obviously know. And I'm pretty sure within the military circles right now, of course, there's grief. But questions are now being asked, and a team will be establishing what really happened. We'll try and also understand from the technical experts, can the helicopter's black box be recovered so we understand what happened in the final hours of the crash, what may have caused this. It takes a long time to investigate crashes such as this, but this is something that's going to be top of the list of the Ghana Armed Forces trying to establish, because they've also lost men here.
They have, and they need to know why.
Get to the bottom.
And I wonder. I mean, this is a helicopter. Obviously, I'm sure they probably also have the black box and stuff like that. So, a few minutes leading up to the crash, you understand what may have gone on in the aircraft. But this is something that is quite tragic as the nation comes to terms with it. So, what we are picking is that the Vice President going in the company of media personnel. So, we will bring him live visuals from the home of Dr. Omane Boamah and, of course, Murtala Mohammed. And then, as the Vice President is leading the government delegation to go and inform the families of the incident. And then, obviously, President Mahama, as told by the Education Minister, is devastated. Everything is on, if you like, on standby now, as we mourn these individuals, 8 of them, together with the crew.
And again, as we're just joining us and learning of this tragic news, we're learning a lot more as this all unfolds. You know, I was asking the question earlier, and this obviously is part of the, and I'm pretty sure right now that entire state machinery is devoted to try and address what has happened. The first thing, obviously, is to inform the families, which we've now had confirmation of. The second thing is the officers who have been dispatched to the scene would obviously try and first secure the remains from the site, and also get as much information as to what happened, recover what they can from the debris of the helicopter, just so to learn what really happened. Now, there's a big question about whether the Z9, once they're civilian Z9s, and then there's the military Z9s. There's a big question about whether the military Z9s will have the what they call the flight data recorder,
right,
and the cockpit voice recorder. Together, you call the black box, right? There's a big question about whether they will have that. But that would have thrown a bit more light on what really happened today. Is there a weather problem? We don't know. Was the weather good? Also because of the times that we're in. I mean, if you notice that since yesterday it's been pretty rainy, it's been pretty wet. The weather forecasters will give us a sense of what the weather situation was in that particular area, just over the Obuasi area and the Sikaman area. But the civilian configured Z9s are most likely the ones to include the black box. The military configured Z9s, such as those used by the Ghana Armed Forces, may or may not have them, right? And so this is something that obviously we'll need to get clarity about, because that will give us a sense of what happened, and we'll need to get closure.
The interesting thing about this Z9 that we are talking about, unless there are other Z9s in the service
of the Ghana
Armed Forces. But remember that in 2020, Z9 was involved in another incident. Let me just recollect what the graphic reported on this matter. So on Thursday, June 25, 2020, at about 5:45 p.m., this Ghana Armed Forces statement: a Ghana Air Force Z9EH helicopter with tail number GHF630 performed an emergency landing in a field about 3 kilometers southwest of Gavuliga village. The location is in the Kumbungo district of the Northern Region and approximately 32 kilometers west of Tamale Airport. The crew landed after observing a malfunction of the tail rotor system, which provide anti-torque and directional control to the aircraft. The incident happened while the crew were returning from Wat Tamale. All 4 crew members and 4 non-military personnel on board at the time of this were successfully recovered within minutes by the Ghana Armed Forces. So again, their investigation, there was a preliminary investigation team that was constituted to look into it. The manufacturer of the aircraft, China National Aero Technology Import and Export Corporation, GATIC, based in China, and their local representative were informed of the incident and provided all the necessary technical assistance. So again, the number of this as captured includes Z9EH helicopter with tail number GHF630. and perhaps what we need to establish whether it's the same aircraft. That clearly it's been having mechanical issues in the past.
Yeah, and that obviously is troubling because of that history. And this is pretty recent, what you're talking about, relatively. So the questions will be asked definitely about what condition this particular flight was in. It is standard practice when something like this happens involving an aircraft that the rest of the Z9s in service of the Ghana Armed Forces will be grounded by now. Because you don't want to fly any, because you don't know exactly what happened to this one. But that also raises questions. How do you get to the scene very quickly? Because it's pretty far. But as we know, and we'll go to Bright Kweku pretty shortly, because he's in the community. Thankfully, because he had some state officials already in the Obuasi area, it is a short 45 minutes drive, which is what we've done to get to the scene. So they will be on the ground, but the equipment you need, securing the body,
exactly,
the remains, gathering the data, securing parts of the helicopter itself that then will become part of the analysis of what transpired. You need special equipment, etc., to do that. Even transporting the body is a question. And if they didn't go, nobody expected this to happen.
No, at all.
So the closest obviously will be Ashanti region, which means that Kumasi.
There's 4BN.
The 4BN there.
4BN.
Okay.
And obviously because of the exigency of what we are experiencing, obviously they may get there in an hour. That is from Kumasi to Obuasi. It will take like an hour or less to get there, and then going to that place another 40 or 45 minutes. But I expect that by the time all of them should be there and try and gather as many evidence as they can, especially at this crucial hour where everything you touch may be leading you towards your investigation coming to some finality.
Yeah, and that obviously is how far is Kumasi from this area we're talking about? Do you know?
So, for example, I don't know whether
if they needed additional equipment and etc. to get out of this.
I'm sure information would have gotten to the 4BN, but that this is the emergency situation.
And
so they wouldn't leave without having whatever they need to have. And the Ghana National Fire Service is also involved in this kind of emergency and rescue missions and all that, and they're also in the enclave. So let's see how they are able to handle this. I
want to take you to the Ministry for Environment. That is the ministry that was headed by Dr. Ibrahim and Murtala Mohammed. My colleague Stephen is there for us this afternoon as we begin to learn a bit more about what has happened. This has been a very, very tragic day. And Stephen, I can't imagine that news has filtered through now to the workers there at the ministry. What have they been telling you?
Well, Evans, the mood here is no different. They are really stricken by the heartbreaking news of the demise of the Minister for Environment, Science and Technology. What we've gathered so far is that agencies under the ministry are trooping in, most of them from the EPA and other agencies trooping in to understand and to get to terms with the demise of the minister. They have declined to speak yet. We also understand that they are currently going into a meeting to collaborate, to understand what's going on and how to go further after the demise.
See behind you in your top right corner that the Ghana flag that was there is now being repositioned to fly at half-mast. And that again is to implement the directive
by the President
of the Chief of Staff. Stephen, that is accurate, is it?
Yes, it is. So as directed by the Chief of Staff, Julius Deborah, every flag is supposed to fly at a half mast, and currently they are doing that. It's going to go at a half mast. We tried speaking to some of the people, the top officials here, and they say they will decline to speak. However, the itinerary for the minister is yet to be confirmed as to what he was to be doing today and before. Also, we also understand that he was really affable as expected, because when we got here, we noticed some people crying, moments of grief for most of the people here. People from other agencies trooping here were really stricken by the demise of the minister.
And you can see in your shot there grief-stricken members of the public who have thronged the Environment Ministry there. Stephen, and that is what you can see there in your shot up on the roof.
They are not trying to fix the flag.
Yes, and it must fly at half mast, which means that before now, it was at full mast, right? Shortly after they got the word from the chief of staff.
Right.
They obviously have to reposition that immediately. We seeing people who look pretty grief-stricken at the scene there at the Environment Ministry. It shows you how quickly the information has to spread, but also the entire state machinery right now will be moving to deal with what has happened, because there are protocols in place for this. If it's a half mast, it's a half mast. Everybody else must fly that. It must be enforced. That is something that we're going to be seeing across all ministries. You're going to be going to the defense. Ministry pretty shortly for you also to get a sense of what is happening there. But you can see people there who since today with Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed, and
it's not going to happen.
And this is a very short flight to Obuasi and back, and that is what you can see in your shot there. They're trying, and I'm going to pause now so we can watch this flag hoisted, flying at half mast at the Environment Ministry. Environment Ministry for you, and it's just quite touching, Elton, to watch the flag. And this is an unplanned ceremony of the sort, but it is a ritual that happens following the death of the head of the institution.
Right.
And it's pretty chilling. To notice that his ministry, the word has gone around, and they're now trying to enforce a directive just in reverence, but also to a remembrance of him. He possibly may have gone to the office today. Possibly. Was there yesterday, and everybody else in the ministry right now must now seeing this flag being hoisted, the Ghana flag, obviously, and he was working in service of his country, Murtala Mohammed, and he had passed tonight, and obviously that is the first indication when you get to the ministry that something is wrong. When you see the flag flying a half mast, and there's a whole ceremony around that when somebody has passed and you're now putting a flag in position to fly a half mast, that is the respect you want to give to the departed.
Right.
And that is why that's the scene there. It's such a powerful scene to behold this happen live before our eyes at the Environment Ministry, where they now trying to pull the flags to fly at half mast. And this is something will be all over for you at the Environment Ministry, but also we'll be going to the Ministry of the Defense Ministry.
In fact, also happening now is the Ashanti Regional Secretariat of the NDC. Remember, Samuel Sapon, a known NDC figure in the region. He was also among those who died in the accident. And my colleague Omane Boamah is there for joining us. We'll be crossing over to Ashanti Regional Secretariat of the NDC soon to bring you what is happening there. But what you are watching right now is obviously the conference room of the Ministry of Environment, Science and Technology. You heard my colleague say that the sector heads are meeting to discuss matters going forward. But I will be taking you back to the Ashanti Regional Capital, Kumasi, where Omane Boamah is at the NDC Party Secretariat to also speak to party folks, especially about the tragic incidents and possibly what they will have to say regarding the statesman that we've lost today.
Yeah, indeed, and it's just tragic to watch the body language of everybody else in that room there at the Environment Ministry says it all. And nobody woke up this morning thinking they'll come to work to hear the news that their sector minister had passed. Not just an ordinary death. This is a tragic loss, just because of the way it happened in a helicopter crash. And you can imagine that those who were involved in trying to now reposition the flag, it is not an easy task to do that in honor of a man that you served, you possibly have met a few hours back or a few days back, and now he's gone. That is a live shot for you from the Environment Ministry there, just watching on in the conference room where workers have gathered at the Environment Ministry, waiting to be briefed on what has happened. And this is important. Either you have the deputy minister coming, or you have the chief director coming to brief everybody. Yes, they would have watched us. They would have watched the chief of staff announce it, but they would need a briefing of a sort, to come to grips with what has happened. I want to take you to the constituency, the Ibrahim Murtala constituency. This is the Tamale Central constituency in the northern region, where my colleague Martina Bugri is standing by for us. And Martina, I can imagine that news has filtered through this constituency already. What are people telling you on this very tragic of days?
Yes, so we are currently at Changle, one of the popular days of the MP, where some youth have gathered. They are talking about what has just happened, the news that has just broken. Most of them look very sad. Visibly, you can see the constituency is unusually very quiet. Not like the bubbling Changle that we know that life goes on very, within this time of the day, the place is always very active. But today, it's virtually empty. People are locked in their rooms. And just a few people, when you go through the streets of Changle, you will find. And so we are going to speak to some of the youth who are gathered here on what they remember of the Member of Parliament for Tamale Central. Hello, good afternoon, welcome to join us. How did you receive the news?
Good afternoon. Well, I received the news through a friend. I was on the bike when I saw his call. So when I saw it, usually when I write, I don't pick calls. So he called and I didn't answer, so he called again. So I packed and answered the call. Then he put the news to me about it.
How did you receive the news? How did you feel, and what be the fun memories you remember of your end?
Yeah, I thought they're very tragic and heartbreaking. Our hearts are really heavy, very heavy, because a great tree has fallen, not only for Ghanaians, or not only for his constituents, but for the whole Ghana, because those are great leaders, and people we look up to. They are like father figures to us. Yes. So that's how we thought. And what we miss about him is the work he has been doing, his advice, his moral talks to us, and the projects he's bringing into the constituency. Because if you compare his constituency now, this area now, to maybe 8 years ago, see a massive change. Understand? So it's a very big blow to us.
Now, one of them you mentioned earlier on that yesterday he was on a radio station and he mentioned that he doesn't fear death. All he does is think about death in every day. Can you tell us about what he said?
Well, yesterday, first of all, let me say, inna lillahi wa inna ilaihi raji'un. In Islam, when somebody dies, the first thing you have to say is God is the owner of his soul, and in fact, God is where we return. So first of all, I would say, but actually yesterday I didn't listen to the search video. I listened to Monday when Diamond FM hooked up with him. So he was saying when people do good to him, he actually called him and tell them what they did, and he usually send money back to them. So he is a person of principle. So whatever you did on behalf of him and come to tell him, he will what? He will definitely return whatever is meant for me. So that is what I'm saying. And to be frankly, we are hard-hitting right now.
Indeed, we are broken-hearted. We have another person here. They call him Chief. Chief, tell us what you know about your
so you set my so now about set my you set what you can so now so comes down that baby so come down that baby so now about set my you just sent MP or now you tell ask you so now about yes in there young boy when you sent so now about set my you trying to be out.
Well, what he's saying is that he went to another area in the metropolis when he heard of the plane crash. They do not know where the accident is coming from, but what they do know is everything is in the hands of God. We will continue to engage most people in the constituency. We are also heading towards the MP's family home, which is around after Changley here. We will be going there to engage with people who have come to mourn with their family.
Thank you very much. And Martina there from the constituency of the Environment Minister. This is Tamale Central, where he obviously was the sitting member of parliament. He had just won another term from the last elections. Martina, thank you very much for that, and we'll come back to Martina.
Evans, you see the issue with Murtala Mohammed, because he's a Muslim, you know, with the Muslim tradition, the burial must be done within 24 hours.
Very quickly, indeed. So that is what we're learning from his constituency. We saw at his ministry. We've been to his constituency. We have Bright Kweku in the community where this happened, the Sikaman area. To be specific, I think he says it's in Brofoyedu, which is the adjoining community to the Sikaman where I think the crash actually happened. But this is a forested area,
right?
And we know we get in there so that we can get you the live feed from the actual crash site, because it's pretty difficult to reach. But we need to get that for you here on your Journalist channel. And I know many of you have joined us on Joy 99.7 FM, and also here on the Journalist channel and across our many social media platforms. And indeed, I want to take you to the Ashanti region, where my colleague Ohemin Teria is at the NDC headquarters there at the Ashanti region. Ohemin, you have been working your sources too. You are now at the MPP Ashanti regional NDC, pardon me, NDC Ashanti regional headquarters in the Ashanti region. I can imagine that it's a pretty somber mood around where you are. Or what have you been told?
Yes, Evans, for the NDC sympathizers in many have been singing, crying his name out because of his benevolence to these people. So a few people gathered here at the NDC regional headquarters, and all the things that they have been saying, the names on their lips is Dr. Samuel Sapong, a man they described as Okunikom, somebody who helped fight hunger among the party people in the region. I have the Deputy Communication Officer of the NDC for the Ishaiso constituency here. I came to meet him here at the regional headquarters. Dr. Samuel Sapong hails from Ishaiso. He lives, his house is located at Ishaiso, and he is a member of the NDC in the Ishaiso constituency. So let me get a few words from him. Good afternoon and welcome to Joy News. Good afternoon. So how did you receive? It was something I never thought to happen, but let's say that it has happened. I was at work. Then I begin to receive some calls. Because my internet was off. I was busy at office, and then I received 1 or 2 calls specifically from Ishaiso constituency. Then I quickly went on social media, and then unfortunately, this is what I met on social media. It was confirmed. Then I have to rush to the regional party office and see what is happening. Dr. Samuel Sapong, for instance, is from Ishaiso constituency, the father of the constituency. A former regional minister, former KMA boss. He has done a lot for the region, especially in Ishaiso constituency. And I was shocked. I was like, what has happened? I didn't know what to say. So when you say he's the father of the constituency, what kind of fatherly role does he play? Oh yes, he has done a lot for them. In fact, the current constituency office that we are occupying was rented by him some years back, and then so many other support that anytime we are organizing some program, if my constituency chairman was here, he would have said the same thing. He will bring the support and then help the party so that we can stand on our feet in the Ishaiso constituency specific. And the region, he has been a pivotal. He's a pillar of NDC in Ashanti region, and he has been helping so much. And what has happened is a big loss. And then to others that has lost their lives in the accident, defense minister and other ministers, Murtala Mohammed, for instance, big in the northern region. So it's a big blow to Ghana, and then especially to NDC party. So how did you ride to this place? Because I know before we went on there, you told me you don't live around this vicinity. Yeah. So how did you decide to come here? I quickly picked my motorbike and I carried this. The man standing there is the constituency secretary for Ishaiso constituency. We quickly rushed here to see what happened before we can go to the residence of our departed hero. Is it because you didn't believe that Dr. Samuel Sapong could be involved in the accident? In fact, the time I was rushing here, the chief of staff hasn't organized the press conference. So I got here before I watched the press conference. I wanted to be sure. So I wanted to rush here and see what is actually happening in our party. At least in the regional office. Okay. So I have to rush here and come and see what is happening. And it is true. You can see the place is so deserted. Everybody is crying, and it is not a good news for us in NDC. What's your full name, sir? My name is Seju, mostly. All right. Yes. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to joining. So the Deputy Communications Officer for Ishaiso, the constituency of the Dr. Samuel Sapong, and he's in somber mood because initially he didn't believe news of Dr. Samuel Sapong's death, and now we have this gentleman here. So how are you faring after receiving news of the demise of these strong NDC officials?
Oh, I'm not could be Emmanuel, precisely Subi constituency, and also a member of. Sorry, I'm Kodwe Emmanuel, a Subi constituency, and also a former constituency deputy secretary, former aspirant. So when the news broke, it was really like, is it rare or what? So we found out that this is not just a normal news. So unless we hear unless we hear from the chief of staff,
so it's really here at the NDC regional headquarters in the Ashanti region as we engage supporters of the party who are brooding over the demise of the party's faithfuls, especially two ministers and Dr. Samuel Sapong, one time Kumasi Mayor and Ashanti regional minister. So you were telling me how you received the news.
As I'm telling you, just about 1 hour ago, when the news broke, we thought it was, is it rare or, so we all rushed here. And finally, when we get there, the news was we confirmed from the chief of staff. It became normal to us. But what I'm trying to say, or I want the government to be more proactive, because this is about security issues. And then it involves a lot of security personnel. Can you imagine how come a flight will take off within just 10 minutes and it lost contact? So we the layman and then the ordinary people on the ground, what they are saying that, as you can see, my mom, the way he was crying, it was really, really pathetic, because it's not just a mere coincidence that the plane will just take off and then all of a sudden it gets this kind of disaster. So I will plead with the government to do away with all old, equipment, being vehicle or a plane craft, because it's not, as you can see, when the president's brother used to give him his private jet, people were complaining, but it's not just a mere coincidence.
So you are suggesting that President Mahama should work on the existing aircraft, and then also ensure that they are changed, right? New ones are acquired. Is that what you are saying?
Exactly, my brother. Because you cannot depend for your.
It's not too early, because we are not even sure of what caused the plane crash. Shouldn't we wait? Perhaps we should wait for the experts to finish the examination before we could even be talking about these old aircraft. What do you think?
I can side with you, but we have to be proactive in whatever we are doing, because you don't know. Because the security personnel that they are recently, I remember that a lot of guns were being stolen, and so it's not a mere sick. We should do something about it.
Okay. So Elton, the gentleman you just heard is a member of the National Democratic Congress in the Subi constituency. He and the mom rushed to the NDC regional headquarters. Immediately, news of the crash came to their attention, and he is suggesting that President Mahama should make it a point to change all the old aircraft and possibly old vehicles, especially in the presidential fleet, and also used by ministers of state as well. So here in the NDC regional office, it's been raining, but I could see few of the supporters still walking towards this direction, perhaps to understand what actually happened and to get first-hand information. From here, we'll move to Ishaiso constituency proper and also engage the mood in that constituency. Colleague
reporting live from the Ashanti Regional Secretariat of the NDC. And the reason this is important is because Samuel Sapon once served as a KMA mayor, Ashanti Regional Minister. He actually set up formerly Serious Fraud Office, now Iyoko. He was the first regional manager for the Ashanti and the Bono region before he entered politics, became KMA mayor and then Ashanti Regional Minister. A key figure as far as the NDC activities in the Ashanti region is concerned. For that reason, party folks obviously are saddened by the demise of us.
And we can say that as we speak tonight, we are in the homes of both Omane Boamah and Murtala Mohammed. We're going to be bringing you that feed pretty shortly because my colleague Kweku Asante is there. The vice president has been to the home of Omane Boamah here in Accra. They're going to go to the Koforidua pretty shortly. We're going to bring you the footage of the vice president just finishing the briefing at the home and leaving pretty shortly. Stay with us. But I also want to take you right now back to the Environment Ministry, where my colleague Stephen is still standing by. Earlier, we saw the meeting that the workers had been gathered into a conference room, awaiting a briefing. We'll get a clarity on what they were told on the back of that gathering. The flags also, we got the privilege of seeing the flags not flying a half mast just yet, but they are now in the process of putting that together, all in deference to the now departed the Environment Minister there on the ground. But there is a lot happening on this. Our correspondent, who is already on the ground, Bright, is also, as we speak right now, will be heading towards the crash site. We'll bring him back in to get a sense of the last time we went to him. He had just arrived, and the crowds have gathered there at Brofuyadu, which is just an adjoining community to Sikaman, where the incident happened. It's a heavily forested area. We will get to him pretty shortly, also to get the very latest from the community itself. Thankfully, when he got there, there were some state officials who were already at the scene, who had left that event, that event where both men were supposed to be and now demise. I want to go to Kweku Asante, who has been to the residence of Omane Boamah. He's currently there for us. And Kweku, what can you report? I see your vehicle is moving now. You appear to be in a convoy. Fill us in. Okay, so that convoy that you see there, from what I know is happening, is okay. Hello, Kweku.
The person of Honorable Murtala Mohammed. They went in there to a meeting together with the family of the former MP and minister who has just passed on. They did speak quite briefly. We understand the convoy is currently going to the house of the former defense minister in the person of Honorable Dr. Omane Boamah, who was also tragically, whose life was also tragically lost in this very tragic incident. And so the Vice President himself, leading the government delegations that is officially informing the family of these persons who have lost their life in the line of duty. And it's been closed doors meeting. Journalists have not been allowed into these very grievous meetings where the families have been discussing the specifics of this. The Vice President in a very somber mood. In fact, a lot of government officials having joined in this very important matter that is being discussed, because these are persons who went out there to serve their country, who went out there in the line of their responsibilities as ministers of state, only to lose their lives in such a tragic sense and in tragic fashion. And so the Vice President is leading to inform the families officially of the tragic loss of the lives of these persons. We understand the Vice President will not only be at this minister's house, he will also be at the individual homes of all the 8 other persons or 6 other persons whose lives we lost in this very tragic incident. And so that is why we are following this convoy with the Vice President herself at the heart of it, leading to the families of these individuals to try and inform them that this is what happened with their sons
and who were out there serving their country who just tragically lost their life. We can confirm that the first home that the Vice President has visited has been the home of the Minister for Environment, Science and Technology in the person of Honorable Murtala Mohammed. The family received the Vice President, spoke to her. The Vice President actually officially informed them that this is specifically what had happened, and now the convoy is making its way to the house of the late Minister for Defense. The person of Honorable Dr. Edward Omane Boamah. It's tragic. In a lot of ministers, a lot of government CEOs have joined this convoy, all of them coming in to try and actually commiserate with the family on this very tragic news that has shaken the core of this nation, and the Vice President herself leading this delegation to try and inform the families as to the specifics of this very tragic news. And then we will get to know later on what exactly the arrangement is going to be. We know that Murtala Mohammed is a Muslim, a very devout one at that, and so as soon as there's clearance with regards to investigation and autopsy and other things, if the state will be minded to do anything of that sort, there will be a burial perhaps tomorrow as soon as practicable, and so all that will be done. And that is why we are checking in with the convoy that is currently in, on this very important mission to inform the families of the persons that have lost their lives. And so we are going to trail the convoy. We are going to follow them every step of the way to try and get an understanding of what is going to be the next steps. Are they going to talk to some of these persons, their families, get to understand how bad and how unfortunate this situation has been, Evans?
Indeed. And you were you also spotted the convoy leaving the home right earlier before they set off on this journey to Omane Boamah's home. Okay, we're going to stay with this feed because we don't want you to miss a thing as far as this. Unfolding stories concerned, we are in the convoy with the Vice President right now, heading towards the various homes of the eight people in all who perished, 2 cabinet ministers and senior officers, both in the party but also national security apparatus, and then the crew, the 3 crew members, 2 pilots and another crew member who were all affected by this. And I see now, it appears where they are now.
It's like they're overpassed the sprinters heading towards East
Airport Hills. Yeah. Okay, so they had left the Airport Hills Chado area.
Now heading towards East Legon.
This is East Legon. They are heading into East Legon now, as you can see on your screens there. They are heading to the home of Omane Boamah, is what we are told by Kweku Asante.
Yes.
Who is following them. So they're now going to descend into the area there, just close to the East Legon police station. This will be where they are now, is really heart of East Legon. This is the area there where you have the boundary road area. This is the boundary road area heading towards the roundabout, and then they will turn and head towards, depending on where he is, either they are going into the Ajigano area or going into the Adenta area, right? But this is clearly a mission that nobody no head of state, no commander-in-chief wants to be on, as in getting to the homes of the families of those who have lost their lives often in the line of duty. And you notice that when the chief of staff was speaking, he said they lost their lives in the line of duty because the defense minister obviously is the chief political officer who leads the military. He was in the military aircraft. And so the right thing to do now is to go to the homes and formally inform them of what has happened. And Kweku is with us all the way so that we can track what has been happening. Kweku, you left first of all, we know that you're heading towards the home of Omane Boamah, but where were you before? Where were you before this convoy moved?
In fact, we have the evidence was that the convoy had actually gone to the home of the defense minister, Dr. Omane Boamah. But later on, I'm just getting to of some persons who were in this convoy. And that was actually Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed's house, that the vice president had gone to try and inform these persons of the family of this past. And now we are Omane Boamah. As earlier we have was to check as Dr. Omane Boamah but it has changed and Omane Boamah to
that Dr. Omane Boamah also lived within that enclave, but it appears that has changed. And we do not know if Dr. Omane Boamah has another home that the vice president is specifically going to, or perhaps there are specifics of certain persons that the vice president will be going to see. Because our understanding of this fact-finding mission, really not a fact-finding mission, it's a message where the vice president is going about to try and tell these persons, their families, about the tragic passing of these persons. And so the vice president is going to go to all the persons who are on this duty tour, who have since lost their lives. He's going to go to them and talk to them personally about the tragic losing of these persons who were on state responsibility, on state duty. And so currently we are on the boundary road in East Legon. It is not clear where we are going, because Dr. Omane Boamah's residence, as we knew, and the information we got from certain key persons within government and outside of it, was to the extent that Dr. Omane Boamah was actually also in Chado, the same place as the president, John Dramani Mahama. The vice president herself also lived within that enclave, as well as Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed also living within that enclave. And so, as of now, the convoy officials have refused to confirm to us the specific location we are going, but we understand it is also persons who lost their lives within this trip. And so we've just made a branch towards Achengano in East Legon, where the officials that we understand also live within this space. And so we are going to go there. The vice president, just like he did at Murtala Mohammed's house, is going to go in there. We understand a family already waiting for this convoy, already waiting for the vice president to come. He will go in there and speak to the family, inform them of this tragic passing, and then will take their leave. And so of all the 5 main government officials who are on this trip, the vice president is going to go to them and talk to them and officially inform them that their children who had lent themselves to duty to serve their country have lost their lives in this tragic passing. And so we need to be able to talk to them in terms of what exactly has happened and whatever arrangement. And particularly, I was telling you, Evans, because Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed is a Muslim, the information we are getting is that as soon as tomorrow, perhaps, the family will be making arrangement to bury him. And so that will be done perhaps tomorrow, as soon as there's clearance for the family to be given the body of Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed, who served until this morning as the Minister for Environment, Science and Technology, for him to be buried in accordance with Islamic rites. And so that is going to be done. With regards to Dr. Omane Boamah, Dr. Limuna, and the other persons who are on this, they will be, because of they are Christians, some of them are Khans and other persons. All those details will be fleshed out in the coming days. So
can't tell you specifically where we are going now, but we are right behind the convoy where the Vice President is breaking the news one after the other to the families of the persons who lost their lives in this tragic helicopter crash this morning in the Ashanti region, Evans.
Thank you very much. And we're going to keep this feed on. Wherever they are going, we'll be there so that we can get you clarity on this. But there's a lot also happening in the community where this happened. And we have our reporter there on the ground. And we're going to be watching. They're also moving now because, as you know, as you said earlier, the first thing the military must do is to secure the bodies. That is very important. Secure the remains of the 8 who died, Omane Boamah himself, and Ibrahim Murtala. Really, really tragic to say this, that they have to secure his remains. This is somebody 2-3 days ago I was having a conversation with. But that is how tragic it is. Just saying it, and I describe him as a friend, saying it, and Murtala too, he was on PM Express. This year we spoke to him quite extensively.
Right.
But they have to secure the remains, and this makes me emotional. They have to secure the remains, and our reporter obviously is tracking that, and we're going to get live feed quickly to Bright, and so that we can bring it back.
I'm reading a lot of comments on social media.
Yeah,
I mean, this is actually taking an international character.
Yeah.
So the BBC, for example, is reporting that Ghana's ministers of defense and environment have died in a military helicopter crash in the Central Ashanti region, along with 6 other people. A government spokesperson says the authorities have not confirmed the cause of the crash, and this is how the BBC is reporting this matter on its international wires. And then a lot of people have also been commenting on it. John Benjamin, the former commissioner in Ghana, the British High Commissioner in Ghana, says, "My deepest sympathies to the family and friends of those lost in the tragic accident." This is coming from John Benjamin, former UK High Commissioner to Ghana. There's also one from Shirley Ayokoboche, who is now the Secretary General of the Commonwealth Organization. She says, "Heartbreaking to receive news of the tragic death of Honorable Dr. Omane Boamah, Honorable Dr. Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed, and other senior government officials and military servicemen of Ghana Armed Forces this afternoon. They dedicated their lives in service of Ghana, and their sacrifice will not be forgotten. My thoughts and prayers are with their families, friends, and the people of Ghana." And this is Shirley Ayokoboche, the Secretary General of the Commonwealth Organization, former Ghana's Foreign Minister in the Akufo-Addo administration. There's one from Dr. Clementa Park, Deputy Education Minister. He says, "Terrible national tragedy. Comrades and compatriots, rest till we meet again."
So tributes now coming in.
Right.
People expressing their condolence. In the last few seconds, the Ghana Armed Forces have a latest statement out on this. I want to bring that to you. It says the Ghana Armed Forces helicopter Z9 that took off this morning at 19:12. I want to take you, I'll pause now. I want to take you to the Ministry of Environment where there's a briefing. My colleague, Stephen, is standing by for us.
What's your name?
My name is I'm the Vice Chairman of the BBC in Canada. As well, a constituent from Tamale, Central, and his nephew. His dad and my grandmother are direct siblings, so that tells you how close the relationship is. This has come really, really hard, and it's hit me really hard.
What was your phone memory?
I mean, I was with him on Friday for almost an hour, and I was with him on Monday as well. And I mean, he genuinely, like I said, he inspired me. before I even went to secondary school. I remember when I was in the university, I pursued my undergrad in tech, and then he had come to pursue his postgraduate studies. Any guy he saw from Tamale, he was very unstable because he used to run different offices outside of the country. Anytime he saw anybody from Tamale, he would tell them, "Get me Ali, come at the bullshit," and that meant he was going to give me money. He was going to talk with me. So we share a very good relationship. All his men. It's extremely hard, and it's going to be hard for everybody that knows him personally, because he is an amazing person too.
You just heard the late minister's colleague and friend. He believes and says that he was one of his closest friends. We are still here at the Ministry of Environment, Science and Technology. Currently, the flag is flying at the house. We also understand that the directors.
So that is the quick briefing from the Environment Ministry on what has happened to their sector minister, who today died in a helicopter crash in Obuasi. And just before we went live there, a press statement has just come out from the Ghana Armed Forces, and I want to share that with you. It gives us a bit more about what happened today. It says the Ghana Armed Forces helicopter Z9 that took off this morning at 19:12 hours from Accra en route to Obuasi has crashed in the general area of Sikaman near Adanse, Akrofom, in the Ashanti region, and all on board are feared dead. Right? They use the word feared dead. The Chief of Staff has confirmed that they are indeed dead, and it includes 2 cabinet ministers. But I'm just reading to you the statement from the Ghana Armed Forces. The crew were Squadron Leader Peter Berfimi Anala, Flying Officer Manean Chum Ampedu, and Sergeant Ernest Ado Mensah. I want to go over that again. We're getting a bit more detail now from the Ghana Armed Forces. The crew were Squadron Leader Peter Berfimi Anala, Flying Officer Manean Chum Ampedu, and Sergeant Ernest Ado Mensah. The passengers were Dr. Edward Omane Boamah, Minister for Defense, Alhaji Dr. Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed, Minister for Environment, Science and Technology, Alhaji Muniru Mohammed, Acting Deputy National Security Coordinator, Dr. Samuel Sapon, Vice Chairman of the NDC, and Mr. Samuel Abuaje, former parliamentary candidate. The Ghana Armed Forces extends its condolences to the bereaved families. Investigations have commenced to determine the cause of the accident. And I'll tell you a bit more what they'll be looking at. Also considering the kind of helicopter that they were using is very important. It gives us a sense of some of the key things we'll be looking at. We've learned a bit more about the helicopter over the last hour or so since we've been covering this. And on your screen now is Kweku, and the convoy has stopped. I want to go live to Kweku now so we can get a bit of what is happening now. The Vice President's convoy. Kweku, what is happening? Okay, I will get Kweku for you pretty shortly because the Vice President's convoy just stopped. We've been traveling with him. And those of you watching us on the Joy News channel will see this, the live visuals. We've been trailing the Vice President's convoy. She has been tasked by the Chief of Staff to go to the homes of every single of the deceased members on the aircraft, including the Omane Boamah, and also the 3 officers of the Ghana Armed Forces, to formally inform the family. And that's why we've been trailing that convoy. That convoy just stopped. Kweku Asante is following them. And Kweku, please talk to me. What is it that we are watching now? It appears the convoy has stopped and they are now following and walking to what appears to be a home. Hello, Kweku.
We've just arrived at the home of Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed. You see there the Roads Minister Kwame Abuja, John Dumelo, the NDC General Secretary in the person of Ifikwete, the Finance Minister himself, Dr. Kasatintin, all coming in this convoy that is being led by the
just ahead of me. A number of persons, all of them, in fact, some of them studying years, as they walk to the houses that is in this thing. This is around go to Ghanacelebrities and this arrived at the home of the late Minister for Environment, Science and Technology. A number of key and high-ranking ministry officials are also in this convoy that are
enjoy 4 more
inform the family. And as you can see, a number of very a huge number of persons who have already come in here. The Vice President is yet to get out of his vehicle. As you see, the police officer now just standing right behind at his entrance, which means that any moment from now, the Vice President will get out of the see the police officer there. A number of dignity officials, officials, all the Professor Salih, Professor Hali also here. I don't agree with the Minister for Education, a number of people, including the Deputy Chief of Staff and other officials in the home of the other officials from the office of the President are also students and so a number of people for more arrive here and the rescue of the former Minister about the Minister for Education. That is it. And before the Vice President actually gets out of every story, actually takes for them to officially inform the family of the Ibrahim that the Member of Parliament, as well as Minister of State, without the next morning and an official responsibility on behalf of the state has passed on. And this is the first time that the state is formally coming out here to inform the number of people that I see already studying here, in the home of Ibrahim. The Vice President declared to get out of her vehicle to inform the family that this is the tragic incident that has just happened, having a vehicle there and having some brief conversation with some persons who are in the family of Ibrahim Mohammed. And having written Ibrahim Mohammed quite closely, they were both in family central and family central, where they took the members of the family. He was one of the sons persons.
I think the last question, if you manage to capture some images, I would do them. The deputy national coordinator, Lemon and
We'll try and fix the audio quality from my colleague Kweku Asante. The Vice President's convoy has arrived in the home of Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed, the Minister for Environment, Science and Technology and Innovation. And well, that's in your shot there is the Vice President walking now they have set up a tent.
Right.
And the home is already besieged by several well-wishers and sympathizers at the home of Murtala Mohammed. The Vice President is taking her seat now together with other dignitaries. I see there the Education Minister.
There's also the Interior Minister.
Who is also there. He's seated. And a host of other senior members of the party, but also government. And the Vice President is now being briefed. We're going to give you audio pretty shortly so we can hear what's happening. And I know many of you are watching us across the world and also on the Joy News channel, on our many social media platforms, and you are listening to us if you're in your vehicles on Joy 99.7 FM. So we'll try and get the audio for you pretty shortly with our colleague there, who is going to be bringing us the very latest. We expect that this is going to be done in the open. We know when they left Omane Boamah's house, this was done in private.
Yes.
We're not allowed into the inner perimeter of the compound, but we're expecting that this will now happen in the open, because the tent has been set up and the vice president is seated, and in fact what appears to be a relative or somebody who has been nominated to speak on behalf of the Murtala family, who is currently addressing the gathering led by the vice president. I want to take you live there. Hopefully we can hear a bit of what is being said.
Hello. Jivenu, can you hear me? Yeah.
And as we try and sort out the issue with the sound there, but we're going to stay with this. This will be possibly one of the most difficult tasks any vice president can undertake, because you have to be in a home there and deliver very tragic news to the families of those who have died in the military crash tragically. No doubt the family would already have heard and watched and seen what has happened. They may have already seen the debris from the crash site. So this is already a very difficult a moment for them. And then you have to now formally communicate, what has happened and convey the president's, the commander-in-chief sympathies. Let's hear Haruna Idrisu.
I see two prominent doctors from Kwalebu. And cardio. Excellent. The Vice President is here on behalf of President Mahama to convey to you the tragedy that has befell the country this morning. It's not an easy task. So I'm accompanied by MP for Bole, who do traditionally the needful pursuant to Muslim custom and culture. The Honorable Yusuf Suleimana will stand on behalf of President Mahama and the NDC family to convey that heavy news we are unable to convey to you, but we are compelled to convey to you. But as Muslims, we take consolation. Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. So, Honorable Yusuf, you know the family well. Excellency, the Vice President is supported by Deputy Chiefs of Staff, Ministers of State, do the needful in the Muslim custom and the culture of home. But prior to our coming, His Excellency the President asked us to convey to Yobunwura what tragedy had befell him. The Yobunwura is currently in consultation with the family, but we are here with the Vice President, the party leadership, and senior government officials. So Honorable Yusuf will do the difficult, needful thing to convey that news briefly. Then Echi will commiserate with the family. Then we'll guide together with the family. That's the advice of the President and the Vice President, how we will take the other processes through. Alhamdulillah.
قالوا إن لله وإنا إليه راجعون. قالوا إن لله وإنا إليه راجعون. قالوا إن لله وإنا إليه راجعون. Your Excellency, the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, Ministers of State who are here, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, our family who are here. Indeed, today is a dark day. His Excellency, the President, is hiding somewhere, crying like a baby because this has never happened in this country. And like the Minister said, he asked that we should convey the information to the Yabunwura. The Yabunwura will get in touch, the Dimanwura, and then the family will be informed. Of course, we also know that Alhaji Muniru has a family here in Accra. So the leadership of the party, the President, and His Excellency thought it wise to come here. It's difficult to say it, but what God has decided, you and I cannot change it. That is why I started by saying, Kalu inna lillahi. We all came from him, and whether we like it or not, we shall all go back to him. We didn't come one day, we came individually, and when we were coming, we didn't report to each other that we were coming here. So it is that we go without reporting to each other that we are departing. Today, by the command of Allah, by the command of Allah, by the command of Allah, our Creator has asked one of His servants, a dedicated Muslim, to join Him. So whether we like it or not, our brother, our father.
Okay, so that there is the formal communication of what has happened, and of course, and Elton, you mentioned earlier, because it's a Muslim,
right?
There are scriptures around this that needs to be followed in terms of how you communicate it and the traditions and rituals that must follow, and that is why we've seen this done the way it's been done. It is strictly according to tradition. And we're going to be bringing, we lost the feed momentarily. We're going to bring you that pretty shortly once we have it back up. Are we expecting that the Vice President herself at some point would have to formally convey?
He's called all of them.
Okay, we can go back now live.
His Excellency has sent this high-level delegation to come and commiserate with us, to come and mourn with us. The rest, the leadership will convey the information to the family as to what next step to take. But what it is today, this time, is that we have lost somebody who would have always to be with us here, but we have no control over it. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
On behalf of the Bonded Chief, you can now receive the information from him.
So you heard the Minister, Deputy Minister for Lands and Natural Resources. That's the official thing, informing the family of what has just happened. The head of the family is just currently condoling with the Vice President, Her Excellency Professor Nana Jino Pokwajiman, speaking with them and greeting them, all of them, before ultimately they will leave here and go back to the other homes of other persons that are affected. You see the Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed Mubarak in your screen. He has been moved to a lot of tears today, right from when the Chief of Staff formally did this announcement, and he is together with the Vice President and the NDC General Secretary leading this very important delegation that has just come to inform the family of Alhaji Limona of the passing of what has just happened. And so pretty shortly, we will hear more from them.
On behalf of the family, receive the message. I've done my best.
So Haruna Drisu condoling with all these persons. Alhaji Boniface, a family member of Alhaji Limona here, about to speak briefly to the Vice President on some of these very important matters.
Your Excellency, I stand on behalf of the family and my own self. As a Muslim, first of all, I'll say, Kullu nafs zaikatul maut. Inna lillah, inna ilayhi raji'un. As a Muslim, we shouldn't be surprised. No Muslim should be surprised when death comes. But as a Muslim, you don't know how it will come. Either you drown, or by accident, by fire, you lie in your room. Some Muslims would prefer to die through accident or to drown, because we believe that you see the pain of all life, and therefore life from that spot, you are blessed. You have the path to Jannah. I can see pain in you. As I stand here on behalf of the family, we feel so sad. We feel so sad. But for him, ever prepared any.
This is a scene from the forest and where the plane crashed, where the helicopter crashed. One of the things that we've managed to do, we've sent our reporters into the thick of the forest, and we'll be getting to them live pretty shortly. They are now approaching this very site, and we'll walk with them pretty shortly. Emmanuel Bright Kweku and his team of reporters and the crew are heading there for us. We'll get that for you pretty shortly. It will join us so that we can get clarity on what is happening. Also, we know that he told us earlier that it appears that the Ghana Armed Forces have already secured the bodies.
Right.
And that is something that we'll confirm for you once he joins us. But we are currently right now in the home of one of the other deceased individuals. That's what we're watching live there. It's the home of Alhaji, the Deputy National Security Coordinator.
Alhaji Murtala
Mohammed, yes. That's the home where we are currently, where the Vice President is. The task is for her to go to every single home of one of the deceased officers and the ministers and 2 cabinet ministers who died, and inform the families formally. So this is the latest leg of her mission in the home of Haji Elimuna, who is the Deputy National Security Coordinator. I want to take you back there now.
Twins, and one day you lose the twins. How do you feel? It's a total devastation. But I want to assure you, Alhaji Muniru and his colleagues who died in the fight for this country should not be a sad news to you. It's a blessing. It's a sacrifice for this country. We accept that as a family, brother who has gone, he went to liberate this country. He did not go to liberate himself. And so we are sure, whilst we are mourning, Alhaji is rejoicing, and we believe by now he should be on the right hand of the Lord. May he rest in perfect peace. And for you, may Allah guide you. May Allah give you all what you're thinking about this country for you to succeed. Me and the family, we console ourselves with one thing, because we will cry. That one, we can't run away from it. But Allah says, when you cry small, come back to your senses. And we believe Allah will give us that vision and wisdom to forget. That's why Allah is giving us forgetfulness. We can't forget forever, but at least that pain, seeing you alone and seeing your posture, tells us something. We want to assure you, as a mother, be guided by your principles. Everything will be okay. My brothers here understand, as Muslims, very soon we wish the body had come, but unfortunately God has taken him. We thank God. May he rest in perfect peace. May he rest in perfect peace. And may Ghana also be in a position to mourn and mourn well. We thank you for coming, and may God bless you.
So, you just heard Mr. Boniface. He used to be a Minister of State and the President Akufo-Addo, speaking on behalf of the family of Alhaji Muniru. They are currently condoling together with Haruna Idrisu to try and come to some understanding on the ways forward. The family say they have now officially received the news of the passing of Alhaji Muniru, the former Minister for Food and Agriculture under Mahama I, and also the Deputy National Security Coordinator who went in there to do this. And so the family are coming together.
And we're going to stay with this, but I want to take you to the forest, the Sikaman forest, where the plane crashed. And that you see there in your shot is my colleague Bright Kweku, who is standing by with those who saw this. And he's actually surrounded by a lot of military officers who have been dispatched to the crash site in an attempt to retrieve the bodies, but also secure very important evidence as part of the investigations to establish what happened. Bright, what can you report? What can you tell us?
Right, so Evans, as you rightly mentioned, we are deep inside the forest. That is the forest around Sikaman and also Bofriedru, where this incident happened. And fortunately, the bodies, we understand, have been retrieved by the military and security personnel who went to the site to see what currently happened at the scene. We understand that the wreckage is still mounted on the one of the trees over there, and they are trying to retrieve the parts of the wreckage of the helicopter and also transport them to wherever. And we understand that the bodies have been packed inside a sack. But I want to confirm from the deputy security coordinator for the Ashanti region, and he is here with me. Want to find out from you. I just saw some sacks pass by. Can you confirm to us these are the bodies or the charred remains of the 8 persons that you retrieved from the site?
Thank you very much. Yes, indeed, I can confirm to you that what you saw a while ago in those sacks are the remains of senior officers that were involved in the crash this morning. Originally, they were scheduled to join us at Obuasi for the launch of the responsible mining, community mining, but unfortunately, they couldn't make it to the scene. And national security, the military, the police, and other sister agencies were at the scene. It's been a very long day, very stressful. It takes you more than 2 hours to climb the mountains to get to the top, and also, carry those bodies downstairs. Currently, we have asked everybody to leave the scene to allow the experts to come and then assess the situation and give us a comprehensive report with regards to what really transpired or what really happened at the scene.
Okay, but when you went to the scene, we want to know what really happened. Is it that there was a crash into a tree? What really, so far, what have you picked up caused this incident?
Well, I'm not an expert in that field, but we were at an accident scene. As to whether the helicopter fell or crashed into the trees, we are unable to tell. We are waiting for the experts to give us, come and analyze the situation and give us a comprehensive report with regards to what really happened.
Okay, so now that these bodies have been retrieved, where are they going to now?
We are taking them to the morgue for possibly a decision by the superior or decision makers. Ours is to evacuate the bodies from here to the morgue or probably the hospital where probably a postmortem and other examinations can be done to identify, because you were there, you also saw them, they were bent beyond recognition. So I think we have to employ scientific means to identify those bodies and see who is who before it can be released to the respective families.
Okay, so now that how many sacks have we been able to pack, or have we retrieved all the bodies?
Well, from our headquarters, that's National Security, we've been dealing that the bodies were 8, and we have retrieved 8 bodies. Yes.
8 bodies.
Yes.
From the scene.
Very well.
Badly damaged. Partly damaged. If you say partly damaged, describe badly damaged. Yes. Describe the hands, and can you give us just a picture of it?
I am not in position to say that.
Right,
yes.
So once with the wreckage that is there, what is going to happen to the helicopter wreckage?
Currently, as I told you earlier, the military has dispatched their experts, analysts to come and then take the footages and then look for the black box, and also be able to draw to a conclusion what really happened. You see, some of these things, it is important we do those things in order to guide our future movements. Situations like this, it's unexpected, but it has happened. So we need to investigate what really happened, so we can put up proactive measures to guard against future occurrences. So it is important that we take these steps to unravel what really happened.
Okay. Right, so please can I get your name?
Ivan Bilson Yeboah.
Ivan Bilson Yeboah. So I have been speaking with Mr. Ivan Bilson Yeboah, who is the Deputy Security Coordinator for the Ashanti region. Well, I also have the Assembly member for the area. When the incident actually happened, he moved to the scene. Daddy, who say we scene or then I will call you here.
Oh, in your medicine, said the work on a pay Bobby 10:28. Na mi information say premier clash your for cinema. Tell me rush call.
Call you then I will here. Senate Senate.
Oh, you call you say I'm pass the material na mi antia me call you no. Na ija the plane mo ash helicopter mo ash body no so ash. Na me friend penny for em charge the man check original Mr. na ada security agency no me na buy. I mean we can say e di body no ma kan e de eba.
Okay. Yenyanente say normally ana helicopters no etai efa ama incidents bi kra esima nsuo bi eba ye no helicopter ba ko ejina wo kro no mu ansana nsuo na ni ba from ne ko bibisa no say na normally aha no helicopters no move omo ya omoko omo ye ne sen
we no kra aha ebe obo ase nti de kwaye ne say ya na planes helicopters ni ta fa ha everyone is there. Nti de kwaye ne say busio nti anapene busio mpa na otunze wada no enye timi kan say be 5 years ni ebisi sa ama plane be lani bo food twin say kopem say ewium be clear ansana omatu ti we ehunu sa and say aturenche mu atuye no.
Okay, all right. So yeah, that's the Assembly member Bodiamai. So what you saw just passed by you in a sack, that's the brown sack, is one of the bodies, the charred remains of the persons who were crashed by the helicopter in Bofredu Sikaman in the Adanse Akrofrom area. And so we have been getting updates, and we are still trying to get to the Ashanti Regional Minister and speak with him and also know what is the next step from here. As you heard from the Deputy Security Council, he says that these bodies will be identified. We'll go through some forensic analysis to really identify who each the body belongs to, which individual, and then they will be sent to the families of these. And as you can see, sir, can we speak with you? We want to know what you found. Okay, sure. So the chairman is coming. Who the chairman for? We want to know. So there are lots of people who are actually coming from the scene. We understand it's been hours. It's been hours. They went deep. Inside the forest somewhere in the morning around 10 a.m. 11 a.m. and this is the time they are returning from the site after being able to retrieve the bodies of the 8 persons who we understand were crushed in the incident. Want to speak, sir? We quickly want to speak with you. We've seen some sacks around. Can you confirm to us whether these are the bodies of the individuals?
I'm very, very sad. I can't talk, please. I'm sorry. I'm very, very sad.
I know it's a difficult moment for all of us, but how do you feel about this incident? Just general, that's one.
Please, I'm sorry. I'm sad. I'm very, very sad.
Thank you very much. That's fine. So, unfortunately, he says he cannot speak with us. Indeed, it's a solemn moment, in fact, in the forest itself, in the community, and I can't say across the country. This is an unprecedented incident where we are having some government officials, top government officials, being crashed in a helicopter incident here in Bofiedu. So these are pictures from the scene. These are pictures from the forest where the incident happened in the early hours of today. And in fact, we have been confirmed that the child bodies have been, as you saw them in the brown sacks, the remains of the individuals, the 8 individuals who unfortunately lost their lives in the aircraft or helicopter crash that happened early today. And in fact, the soldiers have tried their best, the security personnel here have tried their best to secure, talking about the soldiers, the police personnel, ambulance, all the security forces are on site to ensure that these bodies will be identified. As we earlier heard, the remains will be identified through a forensic analysis, so we know which body belongs to which individual, and that will be sent to the families of these persons who have unfortunately lost their lives in this particular incident. And as you know, they were moving to Obuasi. So these are the scenes from the forest here at Bofiedu Sikaman in the Adanse Akrofrom district of the Ashanti region. Over to you. My name is Emmanuel Branskweku.
Emmanuel will stay with us because this obviously gives us the closest appreciation yet of what really happened in that forest. And he is really at the site. This is closest you can get to the site in the forest. He's the first journalist to get there. To report live, and one of the things that he witnessed, which, as you heard him say exclusively here in our coverage, the confirmation by the Deputy Ashanti Regional Security Coordinator, who himself was on the ground leading the efforts, spoke to Bright Kweku a short while ago for just joining us, confirming that yes, they have retrieved the bodies and they've carried the bodies in bags away from the crash site. Whilst he was doing the interview, you saw one more of the bodies pass by, carried in the bag out of the forest. Additionally, his cameras also captured a bit more of the officers who had been sent in there, but also the individuals who were simply helping carry some of the bags away. So that's what you see in there in your short. As confirmed by the Deputy Ashanti Regional Coordinator, as captured by our cameras on the scene. And the men who are assisting, we've seen this has been an INCTA security agency effort. We've seen the fire service there, we've seen the police there, we've seen the members of the Ghana Armed Forces there carrying some of the. Let's listen to Bright Kweku as he watched. This unfold.
This is what you see being carried by this man over there who is going.
I'm coming. He said, the deep forest, Baba.
And that is what he captured there in the forest. And Bright is still with me. He's still in the forest. We will get Bright back to fill in a bit of the blanks. But these are the visuals, and let's listen to Bright as he covered this unfolds in the forest.
And so that's the body, some of the child remains.
So this
the child remains, or we understand these are the child remains of the 8 persons who were crashed in the helicopter scene, and they have been put in the sack. Unfortunately, they couldn't salvage the full body, so the parts is what you see being carried by this man over there who was going.
I'm coming. He said,
pretty sure that this has been a very difficult time for you, and when you were speaking to the deputy national security deputy security coordinator for the Ashanti region, he made the point that you may have also witnessed the child remains. This is as close as anybody can get to what happened there. This, I know as journalists we are taught that you need to just focus on the facts and report it as you see, but this will definitely take a toll. And you spoke to him, the deputy Ashanti Regional Security Coordinator, who was on the ground with you, and he's been confirming that they now have secured, I believe, all 8, the remains of all 8 individuals who perished in this crash, right? And Bright is still with me. As you can imagine, he is reporting live now from the Sikaman forest where the helicopter crashed earlier today. Bright, if you can hear me, and for those who are just joining us, you've been speaking exclusively to the Deputy Ashanti Regional Security Coordinator, who has been confirming to you now that they now have managed to recover the remains of all 8 individuals who perished in this crash. And we'll get him. We'll get Bright to talk to us pretty shortly. But Elting, it's very very painful.
Tax.
Yes. Okay.
We can't confirm. Hello, Evans. Can you hear me? So what you earlier saw are the sacks. We understand the brown sacks you saw in the earlier shots. We can confirm the charred remains of the 8 individuals who unfortunately lost their lives in a helicopter crash at Adanse Sikaman. In the Brofiedu, close to Brofiedu here at the Adanse Akrofrum area, and we are deep in the forest. I can tell you that so far, as I have stood here, I can count at least 5 sacks have been carried by the men who went to the site to retrieve these bodies. I'm talking about the security personnel and the National Security Council, the police personnel, the military themselves have been able to salvage or recover these charred remains of the individuals, the 8 individuals who lost their lives. And these sacks, as confirmed by the Deputy National Security Coordinator for the Ashanti region, he confirmed to us that these are the charred remains of the individuals. And in fact, it's a solemn moment for the entire security personnel who went to the scene. They tell us, in fact, they couldn't, some of the bodies are bent beyond recognition, and so it would take some forensic analysis or forensic examination for them to identify the individual bodies, and then we send them to the families of the persons who have died in this unfortunate incident. And in fact, it's quite a sad moment for those who have come. It's taken them hours coming deep into the forest. We came we spent like an hour and 30 minutes, and we still couldn't even get close to the site. And for those who have gone their went early as 11 a.m. and now they are returning from the site after they have been able to recover the bodies of the 8 individuals who unfortunately lost their lives. And in fact, the Ashanti Regional Minister led the delegation, the security personnel, into the deep forest. And since we came here, since we also entered the forest, and we have not sighted him, he has not been back from the scene. We understand he is on his way back here. And once he comes back, we are going to engage him as well and to know what is the plan, what is going to happen from here. The wreckage, we also understand, is still hung on one of the trees at the scene. Unfortunately, we were not permitted to get close to the scene. We understand that today the wreckage is still hanging, and this wreckage will be airlifted by the military to Accra, and also any parts that were damaged, also they also will come for them as well. So Evans, these are the scenes from the deep pitch forest here at Sikaman in the Adanse Akrofum district, and in fact it's quite a solemn moment for everyone here. For though the residents who spoke with us earlier, and this is unprecedented, although they cited helicopters use these routes, they tell us that what really happened was that in the morning, what they saw, they realized the helicopter was rather close to the land, and that resulted, because it was raining in the morning, we had a little bit of drizzle in the Ashanti region. Even at the events where we were coming from, we had a little drizzle, and so the event couldn't even start. So these individuals were coming from Accra for the responsible cooperative mining and skills development program being organized by the Lands and Natural Resources Ministry. But unfortunately, these 8 individuals could not make it to the scene. And so, Evans, these are the scenes from the deep forest of the Sikaman forest here in the Ashanti region. Evans, over to you.
Right, thank you very much for bringing us that really troubling, heart-wrenching report from the forest there at Sikaman, the site of the crash today, Elting.
Right, so Evans, we can cross over to the home of Alhaji Miniru, where the Vice President is ending her visit. Kwaku Asante is standing by for joining us. Kwaku. Right, Kwaku, if you can hear me, we understand that the visit is over. What can you tell us? Is the Vice President continue with her with a visit to the bereaved families?
About 5 seconds ago, on this same part, that the Vice President, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, ended that very sad responsibility that has come on her shoulder to go about talking to people about this very tragic incident involving the ministers of state, public officials who had gone out there to serve their country and had lost their lives. So the Vice President just left. More and more government officials who are here are just about to leave. Our understanding is that this very solemn and very sad tour led by the Vice President and very senior government officials has just come to an end. The 3 officials involved who are here in Accra, the families have been gone to, they've been informed officially, and the burial rites, especially for Alhaji Limuna and Alhaji Murtala Mohammed, who are Muslims, are going to follow shortly, and that is going to be announced pretty shortly. And so when it comes to the other persons, we know that most of them are domiciled in the Ashanti region. The parliamentary candidate for Boase East for 2024 for families in Kumasi, as well as the vice chair, who is also in the Ashanti region, they will also be gone to. And so currently, that duty tour of the vice president having to go out there and break this very unfortunate and very sad news has come to an end at Alhaji Limuna's house. The vice president actually, after speaking to the larger family outside, actually did go inside and spoke to the wife and children of Alhaji Limuna, spoke to them personally about how the president of the republic is sending his deepest condolences, and he would have wished to be here himself to pass on this message. But the president is not in a good place. He's very affected because these are persons he had appointed into his administration to help him serve and deliver on his responsibilities as president. And it's almost like the president feels a certain sense of responsibility and a certain sense of blameworthy because these persons were out there performing functions of state and they met the untimely death. And so a lot more people we expect very soon are going to take their leave from here. We'll go there. You see the road Roads Minister Kwame Agboja just about to go in there and take his vehicle, and more of these government officials are now going to make their way from this place just around down south, close to Nana Krom, where Alhaji Limuna's family lived when it came to this matter. And so the Roads Minister now taking leave, and these persons are now leaving on their own, especially after the Vice President left as the leader of the convoy. And so more and more people who joined this very solemn and very sad duty tour to come out here and inform the family of these persons have concluded. They first went to the house of Dr. Omane Boamah in Chado. They also went to the house of Alhaji Dr. Murtala Mohammed, all of them living in the Chado enclave, very close to each other. They went there, spoke to the family, and then came all the way here to Nanakrom, where they've been speaking to the family of Alhaji Limuna. They've just concluded very high-ranking military persons also as part of this duty tour, and all of them leaving now. Haruna Idrisu, the Minister for Education, playing such a crucial role in speaking to these family members and assuring them of government support in these very trying times. We also heard from Alhaji Boniface Abubakar. He served in the government of Akufo-Addo when it came to it, and he was also here as a leader of the family of Alhaji Muniru. They spoke to them, and he says, as a Muslim, they do recognize that this is a very tragic incident, but they do recognize that this is the will of Allah, and as Muslims, they always surrender to the will of Allah. That the Almighty Creator had devised the very day that each of these persons were going to go, and not a thing could change that. And so they take consolence in that fact that the Creator just knew, and this was what was destined for these government officials that they've gone there. But also the Vice President himself, who didn't say much in this, except when he went in there to speak to the family of Alhaji Limuna. We understand he spoke to the wife and the daughters and the other family members who were around. But outside was Haruna Idrisu and the Deputy Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Yusuf Sulemana, who did speak on behalf of the government and assuring that this was deeply tragic. The President of the Republic, John Dramani Mahama, sending his condolences and his deep appreciation for the lives of these individuals who put it really at peril for the state. These are persons who went out there to serve the Republic. These are persons who went out there to act on behalf of the state and haven't lost their lives. And so a lot more government officials we expect are going to leave. There's a little bit of a traffic build-up here because the road, part of the road has been blocked for these officials to now make their way out of the residence of Alhaji Limuna. And then ultimately, these persons and this duty tour, very tragic duty tour, will come to an end. And everyone's just a recap for our audience that are just joining us very early today. News started trickling in of a helicopter crash involving government officials, and that was confirmed by the Chief of Staff Julius Debra, confirming that 2 ministers of state and a vice chair of the NDC, a member of the party, also a parliamentary candidate in the 2024 election, as well as some military officials who were on a duty tour to the Obuasi in the Ashanti region, had lost their lives. And so the Vice President of the Republic, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, has been leading a government delegation to the family and to the persons that have been worst affected by this, to commiserate and to officially inform them of the passing of their loved ones, their families, who went out there to serve their country, but who tragically lost their life. The Vice President and the team have just left. We understand they are going back to Jubilee House to now go back to the President, to inform the President that we came out here to do a responsibility that you are taxed us with, to inform these persons, the families of these persons who have lost their lives, to inform them that this is what has happened. We have done so, especially for those in Accra, Dr. Omane Boamah, the Deputy, the Minister for Defense, the Minister for Environment, Science and Technology, Alhaji Dr. Mohammed, Alhaji Dr. I'm just even missing the name out there, and they've gone to the family now, commiserated with them, officially informed them about the death of these persons, and then the Vice President is now going back to Jubilee House to report back to the President, who sent her out there on this very onerous responsibility to go out there and inform persons of this. As part of this digital, the Finance Minister, Dr. Kasatintin, Minister for Roads and Highways, Kwame Agboja, the General Secretary of the NDC, Fifi Fiavikwete, the Chief of Staff of the Vice President, all of them part of this digital that have been here to inform the families of the public officials involved of this very tragic incident that has claimed the life of top 5 government officials, as well as 3 persons in the military who shepherded the military on this visit to Obuasi to coming for this government event that has just ended in this very tragic sense. Evans and Elton.
Right, thank you very much, Kwekwa Asante. He followed the Vice President's convoy, and the convoy went to the home of the former Defense Minister, Dr. Edward Omane Boamah, who is now late, and of course, the late Environment, Science and Technology Minister, Murtala Mohammed, and of course, finally to the home of Alhaji Miniru, who until today was the Deputy National Security Coordinator. So it's been quite a tragic day. Now, loads of condolence message coming in. We've got from the President of Sierra Leone and other individuals we will share with you pretty shortly. But the Northern Regional Minister has also been speaking about this tragic news. Let me cross over to the Northern Regional Capital now, where my colleague Martina Bugri is standing by with that conversation.
All gathered here. I am here this evening with an entourage. With me are the Regional Commander of Police, party leaders, my regional organizer, my regional deputy treasurer, my regional deputy organizer, the regional communications officer, and other regional executives, women's organizers, and other women in various constituencies have come with me this evening. And this is not one of the usual visits to a family. This is very unusual. We are here with very, very, very sad news. A calamity has hit Ghana. This morning at about 9:30 a.m., some ministers of states, including the Minister for Defense, the Minister for Environment, our own, the Minister for the former regional minister, Northern Region, Honorable Lemuna, and some other government officials were on an official trip within the country. Sadly enough, the unfortunate happened. They were traveling in a helicopter, and to cut a long story short, we had a plane or a helicopter crash. All on board, both pilots, passengers, and every other person on board will be referred to as the late now. We are here to break this news on behalf of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama to the family of our Minister for Environment, Honorable Murtala Mohammed. It is very sad, but there's nothing we can do about it. And so His Excellency John Dramani Mahama has mandated me to meet with our Muslim leadership. And so I've invited the Imam of the party, Alhaji Machele, and all others that I have mentioned to come with me so that we can break this news to the family of our late brother Murtala. The other arrangement is that tomorrow, time is yet to be given, and I will communicate same to the family when we settle on the time. Tomorrow morning, the family and my good self and my entourage would be at the Tamale International Airport to receive the body of our late brother Murtala Mohammed for burial. We entreat all of you to be at the cemetery to join us, to give a befitting burial to our late brother, Murtala Mohammed.
Right, so that's the Northern Regional Minister speaking there to my colleague Martina Bugri, and the information he provides is that they have the instruction of the president to receive the body of the late Environment Minister Murtala Mohammed tomorrow, in line with the traditions of the Muslim faith, to give him a befitting burial, and that obviously should take place within 24 hours. And so that's the latest addition we are getting from the Northern Region. The regional minister saying that they are in readiness to receive the body tomorrow at the Tamale International Airport and give him the traditional Muslim burial. I can also take you back to the forest where the incident took place. And of course, the Deputy Ashanti Regional Security Coordinator, Ivan Bilson Yeboah, has also been providing some clarity on the matter with my colleague, Emmanuel Bright-Kweku.
From the Deputy Security Coordinator for the Ashanti region, and he is here with me. We want to find out from you. I just saw some sacks pass by. Can you confirm to us these are the bodies or the charred remains of the 8 persons that you retrieved from the site?
Thank you very much. Yes, indeed, I can confirm to you that what you saw a while ago in those sacks are the remains of senior officers that were involved in the crash this morning. Originally, they were scheduled to join us at Obuasi for the launch of the responsible mining, community mining, but unfortunately, they couldn't make it to the scene. And national security, the military, the police, and other sister agencies were at the scene. It's been a very long day, very stressful. It takes you more than 2 hours to climb the mountains to get to the top, and also, carry those bodies downstairs. Currently, we have asked everybody to leave the scene to allow the experts to come and then assess the situation and give us a comprehensive report with regards to what really transpired or what really happened at the scene.
Okay, but when you went to the scene, we want to know what really happened. Is it that there was a crash into a tree? What really, so far, what have you picked up caused this incident?
Well, I'm not an expert in that field, but we were at an accident scene. As to whether the helicopter fell or crashed into the trees, we are unable to tell. We are waiting for the experts to give us, come and analyze the situation and give us a comprehensive report with regards to what really happened.
Okay, so now that these bodies have been retrieved, where are they going to now?
We are taking them to the morgue for possibly a decision by the superior or decision makers. Ours is to evacuate the bodies from here to the morgue, or probably the hospital where probably a postmortem and other examinations can be done to identify. Because you were there, you also saw them; they were bent beyond recognition. So I think we have to employ scientific means to identify those bodies and see who is who before it can be released to the respective families.
Okay, so now that how many sacks have we been able to pack, or we have retrieved all the bodies?
Well, from our headquarters, that's National Security, we've been duly informed that the bodies were 8, and we have retrieved 8 bodies. Yes.
8 bodies.
Yes.
From the scene.
Very well.
Badly damaged. Partly damaged. If you say partly damaged, describe badly damaged. Yes. Describe the hands, and can you give us just a picture of it?
I am not in position to say that. Right, yes.
So once with the wreckage that is there, what is going to happen to the helicopter wreckage?
Currently, as I told you earlier, the military has dispatched their experts, analysts to come and then take the footages and then look for the black box, and also be able to draw to a conclusion what really happened. You see, some of these things, it is important we do those things in order to guide our future movements. Situations like this, it's unexpected, but it has happened. So we need to investigate what really happened, so we can put up proactive measures to guard against future occurrences. So it is important that we take these steps to unravel what really happened.
Okay. Yeah. Right. So please, can I get your name?
Ivan Bilson Yeboah.
Ivan Bilson Yeboah. So I have been speaking with Mr. Ivan Bilson Yeboah, who is the Deputy Security Coordinator for the Ashanti region. Well, I also have the Assembly member for the area. When the incident actually happened, he moved to the scene. Daddy, who's a scene or then I'll call you here.
Said work on a pay Bobby 10:28. Nami information say premier clash your phone cinema. Tell me rush call.
Call you then who ye saying a senator.
Oh, you call you say I'm passed the material and yantia me call you na ejad the premium ash helicopter no ash body no so ash na me friend penny for em charge your man check original Mr. Neada security agency no na buy I mean we can say a deep body no ma can e dey eba.
Okay, yenyanente normally ana helicopters no etai efa ama incidents bi kra esima ensuo bi eba ye no helicopter ba ko ejina wo kro no mu ansana ensuo na ni ba from ne ko bibisa no say na normally ha no helicopters no move omo ya omoko omo ye ne sen
me no kra ha ebe obo ase nti de kwaye ne say yana planes helicopters ne ta fa ha everyone is dey bia nti de kwaye ne say busio nti anapene busio mpa na otunze wada no enye timi kan say be 5 years ni ebisi sa ama plane be lani o bofudu kutwen say kopem say ewium be clear ansana omatu ti we ehunu sa and say atu nchemu atu ye no.
Okay, all right. So that's the Assembly member Bodiamai. So what you saw just passed by you in a sack, that's the brown sack, is one of the bodies, the charred remains of the 8 persons who were crashed by the helicopter in Bofiedu City in the
Right, so that was Emmanuel Bryce Kweku reporting live from the forest, Evan. So this is not your typical forest of big tree. This is a cocoa farm, if you like. And so, I mean, it's quite unfortunate. I mean, the remains of 3 hours ago or 4 hours ago, cabinet ministers carried in cocoa sacks, going to the mall for possible identification. Before it can be released to their families.
And that's something obviously that we would obviously hear more about. But the most important thing tonight is that the bodies have been retrieved. The remains have now been retrieved from the crash site. And as the Deputy Ashanti Regional Security Coordinator just confirmed, they will have to do DNA testing to establish which body is who. And that is in itself very challenging to comprehend what might have happened here. They cannot distinguish Dr. Omane Boamah from our good friend Murtala Mohammed. It will take a DNA test to do that, as the Deputy Security Coordinator for the Ashanti region is just confirming there. And so that is the next big step now as the families. And we've been saying already that we know that Murtala Mohammed is a Muslim. And we've also seen that the Deputy Security Coordinator is also a Muslim. So this has to happen pretty quickly now, between today and tomorrow for the burial to happen. And so I'm pretty sure that will be the primary goal of the team tasked to get this wrapped up. And so that is a key issue that needs to be resolved immediately as we begin to watch this unfold. And we know that the state is making every resource available for this to happen as quickly as possible, so the families of those involved can get closure. This is a major tragedy, and it's a national tragedy indeed. We've seen that the New Patriotic Party has a statement out, LT.
Right.
They have a statement
loads
out.
Loads of it. In fact, I'm just going through one that is just on the X official handle of the President of Sierra Leone, Julius Madabio. He says, "I'm deeply saddened to hear about the tragic helicopter crash in Ghana that has taken the lives of the Minister of Defense, the Minister of Environment, and the entire crew. My heartfelt condolences go to His Excellency President John Mahama and the people of Ghana during this incredibly difficult time. Please know that the people of Sierra Leone stand in solidarity with you as you mourn this profound loss. We wish you, we are with you in your grief." And this is coming from Julius Madabio, the Sierra Leone President to President Mahama and the people of Ghana.
Also, the Embassy of the Federal Republic of Germany here in Accra has a statement. It says titled "Germany stands in grief and solidarity with Ghana," and it says it is with deep sorrow and heartfelt sympathy that the German embassy in Accra has learned of the tragic loss of lives in a helicopter crash on Wednesday, August 5th, 2025. Our thoughts and prayers are with the government, families, and friends of the victims. Among the victims are honorable public servants, including 2 ministers, with whom the German embassy has worked closely and trustfully. Their dedication to Ghana's development, their vision, and their personal warmth will be deeply missed. Germany stands in grief and solidarity with the people of Ghana during this difficult time.
A lot more. This is also from Kojo upon Kroma. You know, Kojo and the defense minister went to the same school, Pope John Secondary School. And Kojo says, on this terrible day of national tragedy, my prayers go to the families of our colleagues who have fallen in the line of duty and in the service of our dear country. It is so heartbreaking to hear of our countrymen suffer these fates. And he says, for the Pope John Secondary School fraternity, Pujoba Senior Dr. Omane Boamah's demise stings extra painfully. May the good Lord keep their souls and comfort the families left behind. There's also another one from Gabi Asawachidako, who says, Ghana stand in unity in profound grief today. We have witnessed a dark tragedy of unimaginable scale. The loss of 8 precious lives, including 2 esteemed cabinet ministers. To my knowledge, our nation has never endured a loss of such magnitude involving 7 high state officials. My deepest condolences to His Excellency, the President, the bereaved families, loved ones, and all Ghanaians mourning this immense void. And this is coming from Gabi Asari Oshedako.
Okay, and we'll bring you more of the condolences coming through on this very, very dark day indeed. I want to take you back to the northern region, I believe, where the MP for Sanerigu has been speaking to my colleague, Martina Bugri.
We are with the family in these difficult times. That's what I'll say.
What does the loss?
It means a lot because we have had almost 2 serious and big personalities in the north. The likes of Honorable Liboda, who until recently, before we lost the power in 2016, was our northern regional minister. So we've lost him too. We've also lost a minister of environment. It's an honor that there is no guarantee to still be here. So we've lost a lot. It's a pain, and words cannot describe how we are feeling right now. But one thing that I used to comfort myself is that we will all go. Once you have this at the back of your mind, nothing surprises you. Yes, it's a tragic day. I will just admonish the northern region and our residents that it is not enough to mourn, but you must do 2 things. Pray for him and the other departed souls, and then leave the legacy that he left behind. That's what I would say. Thank you. Okay, so Wednesday is a very bad day for me in particular, because at the early hours of this morning around 9, I had a part of my own grandfather. So I was in the place of organizing and making arrangements for a burial when I saw it.
So that there is the Sanerigu MP all expressing deep condolences to the bereaved families indeed. And this is our continued coverage of this very tragic day that is unfolding right before our eyes. The helicopter crash that has claimed 8 lives, including the lives of the Defense Minister, Dr. Omane Boamah, and the life of the Environment Minister, Murtala Mohammed, who have passed tonight, perished in that helicopter crash. A few things we can confirm for you in terms of the developments that have happened since we went on air. In the last few minutes, we've had confirmation from the Deputy Ashanti Regional Security Coordinator, who was in the forest together with our reporter, and this is an exclusive first reported to get there deep in that forest, confirming that they have now retrieved all the remains. The bodies have now all been retrieved, he says. He says also confirming that they will now quickly move into DNA testing to identify the bodies. We know that at least 2 of them are Muslims and they would have to be buried very quickly. So we know that now. He also says that the experts are on the way to assess the crash site and look at the black box, also to ascertain what really happened. But I also think something else that we've heard from the assemblyman, which is important, it will be an important factor in the investigations, is the weather. The assemblyman confirmed that the area where the helicopter went down today was very foggy.
Right.
And the fog had engulfed the entire area. And if you look at the timelines, as we've learned from the Ghana Armed Forces, this was around 9, in fact, to be very specific, around just about after 9:12 is when the helicopter took off. And the assemblyman tells us that it was very foggy. The weather wasn't good today. It's possible it may have played a part in what we saw, but I'm very sure that as investigators are now heading to the scene of this crash, they would factor that into what happened.
Right, it's very true. I mean, I think in the last few days, the weather hasn't been quite friendly. I mean, it's not been itself since the start of June. June, July, August usually the same. Even I was just going through the weather update from the Meteo Service, and are predicting rains from now till tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
All from Accra to the Ashanti region and beyond. So the assembly members' account is what is pertaining across the country, if you like. And usually flying over a forest zone, you will see it even more. And so, well, we won't conclude on anything until they are done with their investigation. I'm sure whatever they're able to retrieve from the aircraft, the black box, the recorder, whatever it is, I'm sure we'll give a clue as to the final moments before the plane went down, and it will help investigators as to what to do going forward. But clearly, I mean, I brought you an earlier story about in 2020, the same Z9. I don't know whether it is the same aircraft, but if it is the same, then probably we have issues with maintenance that has bedeviled it in the last few years. The broader conversation relates around how we are flying our hiding areas. Remember, even the presidential aircraft, as we speak now, is undergoing some kind of maintenance because it may not be fit for purpose as we speak now. Maybe in another day we may have that conversation.
And that is very important. You know, a lot of questions will be asked, and one of the things we'll be doing as part of our coverage is speaking to the experts, understanding. So, what will the investigators be looking at today? What are some of the factors that they will be measuring today? What really happened? Also understanding a bit more of this particular aircraft, what is its service history, what etc. So we can understand what has happened. And it's true, you make the point about the previous incidents involving the Z9.
Right.
It's something that you need to definitely look into. And dignitaries will have to fly team that will be assessing the damage are not on site yet. The deputy coordinator confirmed that they are waiting for them to arrive. And you made a point about the base that is very close.
Right.
They may not be equipped to do the kind of task that you need to do today. They possibly have to fly in, the team from Accra. But then the key question then becomes: are you still going to fly in the helicopter to Obuasi, for example? Are you going to probably get in the tonight that we'll ask as the nation grieves. The nation is grieving tonight. The flags are flying at half-mast, and we're expecting to hear a bit more now. The vice president, we know, has toured the country, Accra, basically, and informing the families of those who have passed on. And further updates, obviously, will be provided once the families have now been informed. We've seen the grieving that is happening, especially in the constituencies,
right?
Where in Murtala constituency, we've seen the grieving there. We'll show you what the the people there. Martina Bugri managed to speak to the brother of the environment minister. And I want to bring that to you. And she went to the family home there in the northern region and tracked the brother down. This is what she told her.
We have other brothers in Accra. I've asked them to take care of that and speak to the immediate family, the wife and the children in Accra. So we are also here. I can't leave here as us now. But rather brothers in Accra, Honorable Haruna Yuku are doing that for us. I'm Omane Boamah Baba. Not the family head. Brother. Yeah.
That is one of the brothers of the environment minister talking to us about what has happened today. If you're just joining us, you're just joining our coverage of the terrible news that we've heard today with the crash of the Z9 military helicopter that has claimed the lives of 8 people, including the defense minister and the environment minister as well. In Elting, there are a lot of things that we've learned since we started today. How the accident happened, we don't know yet, but we know that this was a flight that was headed to Boise for a very important event. The launch of one of the key interventions to deal with illegal mining. And to think that illegal mining again
is the reason somebody
at the heart of this tragedy. It again goes to reinforce why a lot more needs to be done. But the ministers were there going on the way to launch this initiative, and they had crashed. We're learning a bit more about it with the weather, which is important in assessing what might happen. The assemblyman spoke to us live from the forest and told us that the weather today was pretty terrible in terms of the fogginess of the area above which the helicopter was flying. It may or may not have contributed. That will be a subject of investigations by the team that is going there. But we're getting a bit more condolences coming in statements all over.
A lot, in fact. You remember Mr. Chachuchikata was called to the bar 50 years ago. And beginning today, there was going to be a program to celebrate him. Now, he just issued a statement. He says that following the tragic news of the helicopter crash that has sadly taken the lives of 2 ministers of state and 6 others, the 3-day event to celebrate 50 years of my legal practice is cancelled. Now, we are overwhelmed with grief, and our talks and prayers are with the families of the deceased. And this is signed by Mr. Chachuchikata. And then because of this thing, what we are reporting, this tragic accident, that 3-day celebration is cancelled. Now, there's also one from the New Patriotic Party. The party says it is reeling with sorrow and grief following the tragic crash of a military helicopter that claimed the lives of all 8 persons on board. The passing is not only a devastating blow to their families, but also a profound loss to the entire nation they worked for and protected. We extend our deepest and most heartfelt condolences to the bereaved families. No words can truly capture the anguish of this moment. We pray that the Almighty God grant them comfort and strength during this excruciating, difficult period. We call for thorough, transparent, and swift investigation into the cause of the crash. The dignity of the lives lost demands answers and accountability to ensure that such a tragedy never happens again. In this time of mourning, we call on all Ghanaians to come together in unity, prayer, and compassion. That's the MPP. Apart from, they also demanded transparent investigation into this matter.
And the last line there, the last paragraph is the most powerful one indeed. That this is one of the few moments in this country that we have to unite. That unites us all, regardless of your political leanings.
True. There's also one from the United Nations. The United Nations says that it is profound sorrow that we received the tragic news of the fatal crash involving a Ghana Air Force Z9 helicopter, claiming the lives of distinguished government of Ghana officials, including the Honorable Minister for Defense, Dr. Omane Boamah, and Honorable Minister for Environment, Science and Technology, Murtala Mohammed. The United Nations family in Ghana mourns with the nation in this moment of deep grief. We extend our heartfelt condolences to the bereaved families and to the government and people of Ghana as we together face this painful loss. The tragedy is not only a national wound, but also a loss felt across the international community. We stand united at this time of mourning. We honor the memory of those who have passed and hope for their lasting peace. And this is signed by Zia Chaudhry, the UN Resident Coordinator for Ghana. So many of them. There's one from Kwabena Japan who is bidding to lead the MPP, and a few others.
And you can expect a lot more to come through on this very difficult of days. And if you're just joining us on the Joy News channel, the Joy 99.7 FM, on Love FM in Kumasi, on our many social media platforms, and for those of you who are also following us live on myjoyonline.com and YouTube, Facebook, this indeed is a difficult time for the country. Flags are flying at half mast. The passing of 2 cabinet ministers perished in a crash, in a helicopter crash, with 6 others, all on the way to serve Mother Ghana, and to deal with one of the country's biggest threats, illegal mining. Indeed, that is the context of today's tragedy, and we are again awaiting a bit more news now as far as the investigations into the crash itself is concerned, because we have confirmation that indeed the experts have been dispatched to gather that information. The black box, if indeed this flight has one, will be assessed. And I say if indeed it has one, because we told you earlier, the Z9 may or may not, depending on whether it was configured to have one. The military, the civilian types definitely do. And if it's a military one, it may or may not too. We'll get that clarity for you on that. Still with us here on our coverage, and you want to stay with us for that as we begin to hear a bit more of the condolences coming through, statements from those who obviously have been impacted by this.
Of course, we've got the European Union also sending in a statement. The EU says it is deeply saddened by the tragic helicopter crash claiming the lives of Defense Minister Dr. Omane Boamah, the Environment Minister Murtala Mohammed, and of course 6 others. The statement ends by saying that our heartfelt condolences to the families, loved ones, and the people of Ghana. The majority leader, who is with the Speaker of Parliament in the United States of America, attending a conference, says it is proving difficult to process the tragic reality of the passing of my colleagues, some of whom I closely worked with for many years. I extend my condolences to their families and the bereaved families of the other occupants of the aircraft. And this is coming from Ahmad Yariga, who says he's in the United States of America with the Speaker attending a conference.
And we can speak now to Ernest Sowa, who is a pilot himself and understands the aviation industry quite well. And he joins us on the line right now. Ernest, thank you for joining us on this very difficult day indeed. And what do we know about this Z9 helicopter?
Hey, good evening. Thanks for having me. Good evening to your cherished listeners and viewers as well. The Z9, as you know, it's a helicopter which has a total max of 8. So, looking at the weather, especially this morning upon departure, we could tell the weather wasn't a bit okay in terms of visibility, and flying over that area as well. It's quite a forest, and I think it's a bit mountainous. So there's a bit of heat exchange happening. You could have a bit of turbulence also around that side. So, from an aviation side of view, we could say the weather wasn't favorable. But, the pilot in command sure knows best. And then I think safety, of course, is the priority. We just hope the black box will be retrieved, and then also whatever information comes out after the investigation, we'll get it. But our defense conferences go out to the department. So,
and you were talking about this particular aircraft. How agile is it? The assemblyman told us about the weather today. It's very, very foggy. How agile is it? We read that it's one of those aircraft, of course, built by the Chinese. You can use it for reconnaissance. You can use it for transportation, sometimes rescue. And it's a utility helicopter. It sounds like it's very agile.
Yes, per the manufacturer, you can tell the aircraft it's aging a bit, and we wouldn't say it's not in a good condition. Aviation safety is always the priority. So we believe the aircraft, the maintenance team, and everybody on board doing their job this morning did a very good job on the aircraft. It's just that it was very unfortunate that we had this unfortunate incident. But I think once the black book is retrieved and the investigation is done, that we could know something positive.
And then we've been told also today that the experts are on their way to be assessing the crash site. What would they be looking out for?
The first thing will be the black box. That will be the most important thing. So the black box, you can get the CVR, so that's the cockpit voice recorder. So that's whatever happened between the pilot and the controller, you get to know the transmission that went on and the decision they took. So we are just waiting for that. You know, it's a military thing, so I'm sure they'll handle it very well.
Is it standard that a military helicopter such as a Z9 always will come with the black box? Is it always fitted? Because you also have civilian types.
Yeah, so what we know is most aircraft BBs have the black box and the manufacturer. So we definitely know certainly that there will be a black box inside.
Okay. And thank you very much for joining us with your thoughts on just giving us an appreciation of this particular aircraft. And one of the things that, if you're still on, very quickly, in terms of what is this service record in this type of aircraft, but also what you know of it in service of the Ghana Armed Forces?
Okay, so in aviation maintenance, it's maintenance and safety is always our priority. So when it comes to maintenance aircraft, I'm sure it has a maintenance record. The people to tell you the last went for maintenance, they had a so that was maintenance manual good and a log for storage. So definitely, I'm sure the aircraft was fit for today's flight. It was just to make something else happen, but we definitely know it was fit for the flight, and maybe something else went wrong, which we are yet to find out.
And if you look at the flight path, one of the things that the assemblyman told us is that they are used to hearing the sound of crafts, such as a helicopter whiz by the part of the Ashanti region and the Sikaman area. It's standard practice, is it not, that the path from Accra, because it took off from the base here, that's a standard path. They were headed to Obuasi.
I'm sorry, I didn't get your last question.
The path of the helicopter, the flight path. I mean, the area where it was, right? This is a very forested area, and flying over the forest. The assemblyman told us that this is an area they are used to hearing the sound of the helicopters, whiz by. Is that path, if you're heading towards Kumasi or you're heading towards Obuasi, if you have flown that path before, is that a regular path, knowing how densely forested that area is?
Yes, so if that's the designated airway, so we have an airway, that's the airway by the controller that the helicopter should fly that path. There are no needs without flight paths, I might say. It's just that visibility will allow you to fly maybe a bit low. Because once it's a helicopter, so you always have to have a visual reference in sight.
Okay.
Yes, so that's the most important thing when flying the heli. So once visibility has dropped, if the cloud base has reduced, that will allow, of course, the pilot to also fly very low. And it's a forest area, so a lot of things can happen.
Okay. Thank you very much. And that day is NSOA pilot to talking to us about what has happened today. We keep a close eye on this. I believe that
on this matter, I have no experience in aviation, but clearly, from what the assembly member says, that it is normal that they see helicopter almost on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And you see, this is a place that is not far from Obuasi.
Yeah.
So I am assuming that at that time, the helicopter may be beginning to descend. If they see it usually on a daily, on a weekly basis, because Angola Ashanti is there, they airlift their gold.
Yeah.
So that place obviously will become very busy during the week in terms of flying in and out. Even if it's not for national duty, you will find Angola Ashanti airlifting their gold from Obuasi to Accra for export and all those. So clearly, that place is obviously maybe a route that is safe to be used. But you will see that because it's not so far from Obuasi, you tend to agree that probably at that time, it may have started descending for London.
Yeah. And as we've been talking about the condolences coming in, we have the UK High Commission with a statement on X. It says the British High Commission expresses the deep condolences to His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama and the people of Ghana on this tragic and sad day. Our thoughts are with the families and friends of those deceased during this difficult time. And I see there that they have a picture of the Ghana and the flag of England all flying at half-mast.
Right.
And this is in solidarity with the people of Ghana. I believe this should be the residence of the High Commissioner herself here in Ghana. So indeed, the world is mourning with Ghana on this tragic of 4 days. And this obviously is our continued coverage of the tragic developments today with the passing of several high-profile individuals, including 2 cabinet ministers who have perished in a flight in a helicopter crash today. We will be going to the Jubilee House, I believe, where my colleague Maxwell Abagba should be standing by because he has some additional information to share with us. He had been reporting earlier with us that the president is deeply down emotionally. These are the words of the Member of Parliament for Tamale South, the Haruna Drisu, who he had spoken to following the tragic loss, and you can expect that. We'll go to Maxwell pretty shortly. He obviously gave us that a lot of insights from the Jubilee House and getting an exclusive interview with Haruna before he headed with the Vice President to the various homes to commiserate and also to formally communicate the President's own condolences. We'll get to him pretty shortly. And he says that Maxwell will join us pretty shortly. He says in response to the incident, the President scheduled engagement at 2 p.m. today in the Central Region, of course, has been cancelled. And I believe almost everything else he had planned to do today has been cancelled. Everything else, the focus is on this very tragic development today. We will get Maxwell on and get you a bit more from the seat of government where he's been reporting from. We'll stay with us for that. We still have Emmanuel, the Bright Kweku, in the forest. He's now obviously having brought us that exclusive report from the forest, the crash site, the closest you can get to the site. We will get him. We'll get him to bring you a bit more from there. And then also we have our colleagues who have been to the ministry. We will bring you. We'll go to the Ministry of Defense and bring you a bit more from there too, because obviously, as we've seen from the Environment Ministry, it has been a pretty challenging time for the workers at the Environment Ministry. They've been briefed with the Chief Director. Briefed them on what has happened formally. They were gathered in the room. We brought that to you live across the ministry. We'll take you to the Defense Ministry pretty shortly, and we'll also be taking you to the Eastern Region, where Queen Mother of Kofredua Efijase Dana Krobia Santiwa the First has been visiting Dr. Omane Boamah's mom's residence in tears. And we know that when the chief of staff spoke, the delegation is going to be sent to there to bring you to commiserate with the families. We will bring that to you. And Elsie.
Right. So Evans, we're keeping an eye on this. From what we are learning, the government delegation that was also tasked to inform the family of Dr. Omane Boamah have just touched down in Koforidua, and so they are calling on the mom, and I'm sure we'll have that. My colleague Maswe Kudeko is covering this and will bring us these details soon on this matter. But remember that some few minutes ago, exclusively, we brought you that conversation between my colleague Emmanuel Kweku and the Ashanti Regional Deputy Security Coordinator Ivan Yeboah on what they saw when they got to the crash site. We are bringing that to you again.
Have been retrieved by the military and security personnel who went to the site to see what currently happened at the scene. We understand that the wreckage is still mounted on the one of the trees over there, and they are trying to retrieve the parts of the wreckage of the helicopter and also transport them to wherever. And we understand that the bodies have been packed inside a sack. But I want to confirm from the deputy security coordinator for the Ashanti region, and he is here with me. We want to find out from you. I just saw some sacks pass by. Can you confirm to us these are the bodies or the charred remains of the 8 persons that you retrieved from the site?
Thank you very much. Yes, indeed, I can confirm to you that what you saw a while ago in those sacks are the remains of senior officers that were involved in the crash this morning. Originally, they were scheduled to join us at Obuasi for the launch of the responsible mining, community mining, but unfortunately, they couldn't make it to the scene. And national security, the military, the police, and other sister agencies were at the scene. It's been a very long day, very stressful. It takes you more than 2 hours to climb the mountains to get to the top, and also, carry those bodies downstairs. Currently, we have asked everybody to leave the scene to allow the experts to come and then assess the situation and give us a comprehensive report with regards to what really transpired or what really happened at the scene.
Okay, but when you went to the scene, we want to know what really happened. Is it that there was a crash into a tree? What really, so far, what have you picked up caused this incident?
Well, I'm not an expert in that field, but we were at an accident scene. As to whether the helicopter fell or crashed into the trees, we are unable to tell. We are waiting for the experts to give us, come and analyze the situation and give us a comprehensive report with regards to what really happened.
Okay, so now that these bodies have been retrieved, where are they going to now?
We are taking them to the morgue for possibly a decision by the superior or decision makers. Ours is to evacuate the bodies from here to the morgue, or probably the hospital where probably a postmortem and other examinations can be done to identify. Because you were there, you also saw them; they were bent beyond recognition. So I think we have to employ scientific means to identify those bodies and see who is who before it can be released to the respective families.
Okay, so now that how many sacks have we been able to pack, or have we retrieved all the bodies?
Well, from our headquarters, that's National Security, we've been duly informed that the bodies were 8, and we have retrieved 8 bodies. Yes.
8 bodies.
Yes.
From the scene.
Very well. Badly damaged.
Partly damaged. If you say partly damaged, describe badly damaged. Yes. Describe the hands, and can you give us just a picture of it?
I am not in position to say that. Right, yes.
So once with the wreckage that is there, what is going to happen to the helicopter wreckage?
Currently, as I told you earlier, the military has dispatched their experts, analysts to come and then take the footages and then look for the black box, and also be able to draw to a conclusion what really happened. You see, some of these things, it is important we do those things in order to guide our future movements. Situations like this, it's unexpected, but it has happened. So we need to investigate what really happened, so we can put up proactive measures to guard against future occurrences. So it is important that we take these steps to unravel what really happened.
Okay. Right, so please can I get your name?
Ivan Bilson Yeboah.
Ivan Bilson Yeboah. So I have been speaking with Mr. Ivan Bilson Yeboah, who is the Deputy Security Coordinator for the Ashanti region. Well, I also have the Assembly member for the area. When the incident actually happened, he moved to the scene. Daddy, when who's a wufi scene, what then I'll call you here?
I said, work on a pay 10:28. No information say plane be a crash your forest no. Tell me rush call.
Ko ye den na hu ye senesi ye seneti.
Oh you call him say am pass the material na nyantia me call no. Na eja the plane mo ash helicopter mo ash body no so ash. Na me friend penifo em charge your man check regional minister na ada security agents no me na buy. I mean we can say ye di body no ma kan ye de eba.
Yenya nintese normally ana helicopters no etai efa ama incidents bi kra esima ensuo bi eba ye no helicopter ba ko ejina wo kro no masana ensuo na eni ba from neko bibisa no say na normally aha no helicopters no move omo ya omoko omo ye ne sen
anya en kra aha ebe oboase nti de kwaye ne say yana planes helicopters no ta fa ha everyone is there. Nti de kwaye ne say busio nti ana pene busio mpa no tunze wada no enye timi kan say be 5 years ni ebisi sa ama pene belani wo food twin say kopem say ewum be kre ansana omotu ti we hu ni sa ne say atro nchem we atoye no.
Okay, all right, so that's the Assembly member Brodiamai. So what you saw just passed by.
And that is Emmanuel Baikweku, they're live from the forest where the crash happened. Joining me right now, my colleagues, Kojo Brace, who is joining me right now on set, and also joining me is Kofi J, also getting us a bit more perspective as far as the military and its helicopters are concerned. And Kofi, it's important that we put this in a bigger context of what we know as far as the military helicopters and incidents that have been recorded in the last few years is concerned, because this puts it in context what has really happened today.
Well, so this Z9 in particular is part of 4 aircrafts that were actually commissioned by President Mahama himself in 2015 as part of ways to equip both the Ghana Armed Forces and the Ghana National Gas or Ghana Gas also for their operations and all of that. And we've been trying to understand what is going on in terms of forced landing, bad weather conditions, and all of that. This is the first time we're actually experiencing, an incident. And what we know is that in terms of what we've been able to count since 2000, we've had at least 5 forced landings in terms of military, helicopters, and that's what we are seeing on the screens right now. We're going to walk you through almost all of them, and you will see that there were even an instance where you had both the president and his wife also involved in forced landings, and you understand that bad weather conditions all affecting the forced landings as well. And as you see on your screens, 5 at least what we've been able to count since 2000. This is not the first time that we're actually seeing something like this, but in terms of the top officials who are actually involved in this, just like Bright Kuku said, this is almost unprecedented in terms of the casualties. So let's start with 2000 itself. What happened? The Augusta Bell 412, which actually happened somewhere around the Etiwa range in the eastern region.
I remember that. I remember that crash, and when it happened, I remember that the community folks, I remember covering it. Yeah. People took shots of what has happened. At the time, it was pretty troubling covering that incident, but of course.
Well, definitely, if you look at that incident, just like what happened today, all the crew members who were on board, including the captain, all died in terms of that accident, where 2 pilots, 2 technical officers, and then the patient who was a nurse also all died. 4 of them all died as a result of that crash. And what we understand, at that point in time, they were supposed to do some medical evacuation mission in 2000. And when that happened, all the persons who were actually on board, just like we witnessed today, all of them actually died in that incident. Then we go to 2015. the Ghana Air Force.
Kofi, just a second. I want to take you to the eastern region, and I want to take you to Koforidua to be very specific. And that is the family home of the defense minister, or